Testes, 1, 2, hello. Is anybody out there? Hope everybody's well tonight. What's up, Dawn, Joey, and James? What's going on, folks? Hope you're well. Did I say Sweet? Yep, Sweets is there. Sweets got first in all the places. Fred, what's up, James? We got, who did I miss? Commercial Herschel over there on Kick. What's up, MJ? How you doing, buddy? What's happening? How's the, I adjusted the cutoff on my noise gate, so if it's too much, let me know. So it's supposed to cut out my breaths. So it says it hasn't been terrible, but I want to make sure we get it all tuned in. So let me know if it sounds weird. What's up? Who else we missing over there on Rumble? Nobody yet. We got Kick. All right, Troubled Minds happening in about 15 seconds. Hold on to your butts. We got James sitting in with this one and taking your calls as well. Phone line will be up shortly. And here we go.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Now, tonight, as usual, I'm bringing you some wild ideas. Of course, there's a lot of ways to look at not just, let's say, the subconscious mind, which is what we talk about quite often, even in the, let's say, the framework of UFOs and things like that. They kind of don't really tackle those aspects too much in sort of the popular culture. However, as you have come to notice, if you've been listening to Troubled Minds for any amount of time, all of the mind work is in play here, meaning we might be fooling ourselves about a great many things because, of course, consciousness itself is still a slippery fish as yet, undecided on what it is in a consensus sort of larger space, but also that subconscious mind and the machinations of that exact thing seem to be, difficult to reconcile as a part of what humans are and sort of our shadow self and all the things we're always talking about. And so I saw this article. As usual, look, I like to cite the inspirations for these things and show you where this stuff comes from, because it's important. All of this is important to recognize, not just for myself, but for you and everybody else that listens to this and participates in this. Thank you for all the amazing calls and chat we get from all our great friends. Is that the thing to recognize is that we have a situation going on where inspiration is everywhere. And we should recognize it together collectively. Surely we inspire each other every night when we do these shows. Surely, we inspire the podcast feed, that we got a lot of people out there listening. Even, inspire the space itself, meaning, sometimes the UFO space or sometimes the paranormal space or whatever those communities look like. I mean, I kind of like to think that have two toes in each sort of thing. Like we're not really, we're just kind of out here doing our own thing and on the periphery of those spaces, right? Those communities themselves. But we're talking about all of it. And again, the mind itself is it's a wily devil, for lack of a better term there. But we'll start here. This is from gizmodo.com, and this is from a couple weeks back. I like to save articles and talk about these things and kind of let them percolate sometimes and then come back to them when something kind of strikes me or kind of jogs my memory about it or whatever. But in this case, this is, a study was done recently about, this is the headline first. Do you always remember your dreams? And that's the question for tonight. And so why? Why is it that sometimes you do, sometimes you don't? Why is it that some people out there actually do remember them better or whatever else? A weird secondary radio playing. Oh, gotcha. Had Discord open. Gotcha. Okay. You're freaking me out. Okay. But so that's where this starts, because they did this study, and the study's pretty cool. If you've read the actual write-up here, I think you should. As usual, these write-ups are usually pretty damn good stuff. Use Claude these days, but sometimes they're hit and miss sometimes. But for the most part, I've got it all dialed in. If my AIs don't get sassy on me, my show guys start barking at me. But in this case, think about this. This is incredible to consider that they may have narrowed down at least some of the stimuli or some of the reasons why people tend to remember their dreams or not, right? And that's the thing. So let me read a little bit from this. It's probably best to just go straight down the bit here, because I had the thing sum up the thing. And so here's the thing. Let me read it straight from the blurb, and it'll be more coherent than me rambling here. Okay, so skip the thing. So recent scientific investigation has uncovered patterns in our ability to retrieve these ethereal experiences, talking about dreams and remembering them, revealing that dream recall operates not by chance, but through identifiable mechanisms tied to our physical and psychological states, right? Okay, X sounds awesome. Great. All right. Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate the audio checks in all the places. Like I said, I've been wrestling with audio, trying to get this right for weeks now. So hopefully, cross your fingers, everything's going to stick and be just fine. Here's the deal. The research in this particular study suggests that age plays a significant role in our capacity to remember dreams. Younger individuals demonstrate a heightened ability to bring back these nighttime narratives compared to their older counterparts. This age-related decline may reflect broader neurological changes, as older participants frequently reported experiencing what scientists term white dreams. And I've never heard this, by the way. There's a term for this, and white dreams is actually a scientific clinical thing, and it just means you've had a dream and you don't remember it. Almost like those screen memories we've talked about with UFOs, or sort of trauma, kind of, covering up a really dark place in our mind, things like that. But anyway, so the terms of white dreams, so the frustrating awareness of having dreamed without accessing the content itself, which happens to a lot of people, right? Like you actually know you dreamt. However, there's something a little bit more, you can't recall any detail whatsoever. It's just sort of a weird space of forgetfulness that again, may be a screen memory of nothing, that chaos, the static, the fog, whatever it is, right? I don't know how you would really define that, but you get the idea. And that's where we start tonight, because there's a lot of things that kind of flew through my mind when I was thinking about this exact thing. And once I read this article, I don't usually read all of them. When I do it, I kind of just peel headlines and drop them in the bucket, come back to them a little bit later, and then see where it kind of gets me. But when I read the article, I was like, okay, wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that they went through and actually did. Here we go. So I'll read it here. I'll instead of rambling on. So sleep architecture emerges as another critical factor, and this is from the study. Those experiencing more light sleep phases retain greater access to their dream content. This correlation points to the delicate relationship between states of consciousness, where the threshold between sleeping and waking minds determines what memories survive the transition. The research also identified an unexpected seasonal rhythm in dream recall. Now listen to this. This is incredibly weird to me. With spring yielding a richer harvest of remembered dreams than winter. This finding hints at potential connections between dreaming and natural cycles that have yet to be fully explored. Remember the solstice dreaming that I talked about? Weird, right? Maybe this stuff does actually play. And including, of course, perhaps our ancestral relationship with seasonal changes extends deeper into our consciousness than previously recognized and into the dream realm. Now, as part of that is just a kind of a riff on the idea as I'm reading this and kind of catching up with my thoughts here. What would seasons look like in the dream realm? And do you think they are sort of like winter is coming, the long night, things like this? Or do you think they're more unpredictable, more frivolous in a moment and more fleeting? I don't know. As usual, I don't really know, but that's why we talk about these things because, that's a great time to drop all the disclaimers. If you're here for truth, you're in the wrong place. Truth is not my bag. I don't do that. I talk about possibilities. I talk about wild ideas. I talk about what the future may bring. And as part of it, to help us not forget the past, okay? But there's no truth here. Just ideas, just sort of connecting threads in that synchro-mystic aspect that some people might call conspiracy. However, Carl Jung didn't think so. The meaningful coincidence. In any case, that puts us about where we need to be. So if you guys want to be part of the show tonight, we are taking your calls. We'll get to James in just a moment here after we take a quick break and get a word from our sponsor. So phone lines will be up after this. And of course, we will be taking calls on Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, or of course, 702-957-1037. And be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up in exactly 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. We got James coming up and your calls as well on these ideas and some more of these wild things that are in my mind. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable. So here I sit, locked in my room again. Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. And welcome back to Troubled Minds. Sorry about that. I was firing up the phone line. It should be up and good now. It bleeds over into the other track for a second. But anyway, again, please sponsor, again, thank you for sponsoring the show. That's Reiki and that fantastic song. If you have not checked that out, please go check out the track by Tremble. As you heard there in the bit, it's very good. And it's, again, the human stuff. It's very important to me to not remember, like I always say, the old ways. Even though we're spinning out of control with all this AI creation and content tools and all kinds of wild things, we cannot leave our human artists behind because they're the ones who got us here after all. They are the ones who gave us the training data. Well, let's say it was borrowed maliciously. But anyway, you get the idea. So if you haven't checked out that track, please do. Tremble is the artist there. And yeah, please. Let's help our friends. Let's do the thing. Yeah, okay, so back to this. Now, Agents of Twilight, I'm calling this. Dream recall and the subconscious mission. And it really begs the larger question, is there some sort of subconscious mission? You know, we talked about severance recently and the idea of maybe a fractured state of mind for the work professional self and then the home self and then whatever else, right? And different sort of fractured identities and being able to turn them on and off in that Jekyll and Hyde show. But in this case, it's similar, except we're talking about the dream realm itself. Do you think there is a larger mission that's happening there? And maybe some of these filtered ideas, the white dreams, as I'm just learning they're known as, the dreams you don't remember, they're filtered for some particular reason, as in, we found the runes of Odin and we can't bring them into our reality, something like that. Anyway, wild ideas on the tip of my tongue here, which we'll get to, all kinds of amazing things. If, like I said, if you haven't read the write-up, I do recommend it. It's going to be linked in the description down below, and et cetera, so on. So let's do it. Thanks for being patient, my man. James in Michigan, Salcedo Paranormal. How you doing, my man? I hope you're feeling better tonight. And what's your take on any of this? As you know, you can kind of take it anywhere you like, because that's the way we do this. Test, James. You are muted if you got pushed to talk. You're actually muted on Discord.
That might help.
Hey, there we go. What's up, James in Michigan, Salcedo Paranormal? How you doing, my man?
I'm okay. I just forgot to unmute. But yeah, I'm okay. Glad you can hear me. That's what I was asking when you couldn't hear me can you hear me? So, great topic, and just made me think right away. I was able to listen to the write up, which is amazing, and I believe I've had those white dreams. But the amazing thing about that to me is I feel like I've still been able to tell what type of dream or experience it was, even though I don't remember any of the details, to where I feel like I've had them where I know that they're just a basic dream. They're not anything really that I really want to or need to remember. But then I feel like there's been others that I've had where it was another sort of one of my glimpses or visits to other alternate or parallel universes that I've talked about in the show before that I have remembered. But in this case, I've had apparently versions of that where I don't remember any details. I just know that they felt different, that the dream felt different than a regular dream.
Yeah, which is strange. Why, again, sort of the subconscious mind can kind of pick some of that stuff out and make you, maybe not make you remember it, but you remember it easier. And other ones just seem like they're sort of wiped, as if they're not allowed in this reality. And I was talking about that, Odin and the Yggdrasil tree, and then pinning himself up to it to kind of learn the secrets of what's beyond the veil, sort of as a sacrificing himself and, the godlike capacity that only gods could do. And I thought I had two stories stuck in my head about that, but I was right actually when I went back and double checked myself. So it turns out that he went into the beyond the veil and he found basically the secrets of the universe. He found the cheat codes, which were those runes, those actual magical runes, which to him, the God, the All-Father, and all the rest of that, was able to become the best magician of all time and basically start manipulating reality in ways that even he never dreamed of. So it's interesting that, again, looking into these other places, these other spaces for kind of power to bring back. And even in that case, it took the God himself, the All-Father, Odin, all the rest, kind of having to sacrifice himself at Yggdrasil, the big tree. And then also, on top of that, he was able to kind of bring the information back into our reality, which allowed him to basically have those cheat codes, like the reality hacks. Now, the interesting part of that is with the dream stuff and why maybe we don't remember. What if some things are not allowed back into this realm? And that's why maybe it's like a censorship aspect of, okay, you dreamt some cool stuff, but those particular runes or whatever are not allowed back into your reality, at least not yet, or whatever. Does that make some sense?
It does, and that makes me wonder too. Okay, so he went and found these runes. He went and found these things. Who made them? What made them? And to me, it would seem like some force or some being or some beings that were even more powerful than he was, which goes back to this idea of sort of the micro, the macro, and the levels. How there's people that are regular people, but then there's these other beings that are above that. But then there are these deities, but then they exist in these worlds, and there are other forces beyond them that even they can't control. And they can contact, like in that case with Odin, and they can get information, but even then, they can't just. It's not an ultimate. They never get all of the power completely. Even with Odin, I'm guessing, even with those powers he had, he still couldn't control all of, everything all at once.
Yeah, there's always going to be some sort of limitations because, of course, systems, inside of systems and things like that, you'd still have to be outside of the system to control it at that level, right? So even the gods, the gods of old, small g gods, were still sort of beholden to that larger system. And, in one way you can look at it as the Matrix or, simulation theory, like we always talk about, that even though you're inside of it, like Odin, you still cannot access sort of the keys from outside of it to manipulate true reality at both ends of the beginning and the end, and of course be able to change those ideas. Yeah, wild stuff. Regarding well, go ahead. What else you got? I don't want to steer you a particular way. I'm sure you got some ideas yourself. Go ahead.
Well, just the idea of there being a system systems that manage or that sort of dictate what we can remember and what we can't remember with dreams. I do think it could be our subconscious, but I also wonder, as sort of maybe it was described in the write-up there, if it is some other outside forces or other outside systems that are beyond just this universe. And again, going to the idea of multiple universes, because I know from just talking to people and reading things, I'm not the only one to have had these multiversal dream visitations journeys myself. And that's just one type of sort of anomalous experience people have in their dreams. So I wonder what is out there and how is it managing everything, and is it perfect itself or not? Because if it is, then that would mean everything that happens that we remember, we are allowed to remember. But if it's not, then that would indicate things can happen that are unexpected to everyone involved.
Yeah, well said. Shane, lucid dreaming with the blind psychonaut. Welcome back, buddy. I know you were in the hospital. I hope you're well, feeling better. He says, you're talking about the dream police. And that's exactly right. We are. It's kind of talking about the Adjustment Bureau, sort of, or the Time Variance Authority of Loki in the MCU. But instead of that, some level of control through the dream aspect, that we can go and get some information and bring some of it back, right? But some of it we can't. It seems as if it's forbidden to come back. And it brings to mind, it's an old meme, and it's something Derek says from time to time. Derek the Night Stalker, shout out if you're out there listening. He called into some show one time. It wasn't this show, and he was talking to somebody else, and I was listening and admiring Derek because that's what we do, because he's amazing. And somebody asked him, where do you come up with this stuff, man? And he responded with, well, of course, the only reliable source, cryptic symbolism in my dreams. And I do wonder if that particular thing, and I know he was half joking, of course, but if that particular thing could be cracked, maybe that those cryptic symbolism in our dreams is the power of those runes of Odin, and really maybe cheat codes that might be able to come back into our space in some capacity. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how our mind does kind of come up with some dream memory, but other times it's blank entirely, or you dream it and you don't even know it. I don't know. It's a strange thing, isn't it?
It is. And yeah, I do think, there have been plenty of writers that have been inspired by their dreams and all that. So I imagine, musicians and movie makers and other things like that. And myself as well, I've had visitations from some other being, and it really influenced the creation of one of my novels that I wrote years ago, and sort of one of the main characters in it and how it all played out. So yeah, I think there's something to that we're always connected to that, and sometimes we're able to use what we see or hear in those other realms, and other times that we're not. And the reasons why and for what we are able to use, that's I think the big question here.
Yeah, definitely. And there's the different, of course, we've talked about this quite a lot in the past, the different sort of dream states, the REM sleep and all this other stuff, the deep sleep, the light sleep, the quick cat nap, whatever you want to call these things. But they do correlate to a sort of brain wave, like a particular, almost as if you have to be in a particular brain state to achieve a true dream or a lucid dream, or something to that effect. So I do wonder if clearly the quality of sleep is one factor there. But what I did notice about the study, and we started with this Gizmodo study, again, an article about a study about dreams and why some people remember them and some people don't, and why it's intermittent or fractured or whatever. And they found all kinds of things. It was pretty weird, right? And they did a 4-year study it was called Morning Dream Recall. So I do recommend you read this as well if you want to kind of catch up on what we're talking about. I'll fill in some details as we go. But yeah, they did 200 participants between the ages of 18 and 70. The researchers asked the participants to record their dreams and to wear a sleep monitoring wristwatch for a 15-day period. Before and after this period, participants completed tests and questionnaires on various personal topics, including their interest in dreams, tendency toward distraction, and anxiety levels. Now, that's an interesting thing, right? So what do you think anxiety has to do with remembering dreams? Got an idea there, James?
I mean, it's hard to say because that's a type of energy or emotion. So you would think that might, I don't know, I guess it could go either way. It could help or could hurt depending on how complex the dream is. The one other thing that I found fascinating about this is that one of the things the study reported was that people that were younger had better dream recall. And we can go into that more later, but the other coincidence with that or thing to tie into that is so many people that have paranormal experiences have a lot of them when they're either a lot younger or a lot older. And I wonder if there's a connection there.
Yeah, well said. And I don't know. That's why we talk about this, because, of course, science does its thing, right? 200 people is not really a massive sample size. I mean, it's respectable, right? But, of course, you start to get some ideas on what may be causing these things. And so who knows? Let's put it through the Troubled Minds mind grinder and find out some ideas that maybe science hasn't thought of yet. And that's what's on my mind tonight. We're talking about why some people do or do not remember their dreams, and how weird does it get? If you want to be part of the conversation tonight, we are taking your calls on Discord, and of course at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We'll be back more with James. We got Joey coming up on Discord and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. More on the way.
Dream agents in your mind, unraveling
feels like that was the Sundays, or I don't know. Was the band? I thought it was a little flat. Like they kind of needed a moment. They didn't have a moment. It was an all right one. That's an all right AI song. What's up, guys? We got Joey coming up next. More from James, Michael W. Shea. What's up, Sweets, Daryl, Jeff and Wisco, Don, Joey, Herschel, APOC, and Gaston. I see you guys. That's Joey. Don't panic. The other Joey. What is up? Who did I miss? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. We got. Oh my goodness, the Kick chat is all blown out now, so I don't know who's on Kick anymore. What's up, Herschel and was it Taxi Graveyard? I think. What's up, guys? I hope you're doing well tonight. Who did I miss? Shane, what's up? Dream Big, how you doing? Harry the Cat, what's happening, guys? Ioxy, welcome to the joint. Welcome back. How you doing? What's going on? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. And hello. Good evening. What's up? Let's see. Who else is here? Good evening, guys. Who's got a birthday? Somebody's birthday. Happy birthday. Who did I miss? What's up? DTM is here. How you doing? What's going on? Richard in Texas. What's up? Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. Kelly, I see you. What's up? Commercial Herschel over there. And of course, Rumble. We got Ephemerance, Hiker. What's up, Puff? North Vixen. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up right now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting and 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking Agents of Twilight, Dream Recall, and the Subconscious Mission. Now, is it possible that some people remember their dreams more than others because they're tuned in to the dream realm? That maybe they're on some sort of actual subconscious mission, as I described here in the title, of maybe bringing information back into this realm that we need. And maybe it's a constant fight, as Shane said in the chat there, the dream police kind of not allowing particular information out of the dream realm for obvious reasons, right? You can't have cheat codes to reality. You're not allowed. But when these sort of realities collide and you consider them as information, it's all information, right? The data we collect from our day-to-day reality is definitely just information, but also we get information from the dream realm. So when that collides, what does it look like? And do you think there are some things that are actually sort of censored that are not allowed to come back from the dream realm, which kind of encapsulates this idea of these white dreams as they're known, which the dreams you can't remember, or they say they might have never occurred is one theory, but they definitely call them white dreams as the technical term, the scientific term. And is it possible to dream of nothing is a good question on this article there from The Atlantic. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts on this. Anything, James, and then we'll go to Joey.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Is it possible to dream of nothing? I feel like maybe if you, I don't know, if you're in between dreams, maybe is that considered having a dream of nothing, or is that just a transition, or is it both of the same thing? But yeah, I don't know. But looking forward to all the calls.
Indeed, and more from you. Michael W. has a birthday. I saw it in the chat. Shout out Michael W. Happy birthday. Happy 43. What's up, brother? Thanks for letting us know about that. And +1 around the sun, one more year. Welcome to it. Let's go to Joey. Joey on the Discord. What's up, brother? Thanks for being patient. I know you had your hand up early. You were on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How you doing, my man? And go right ahead.
What's going on, fellas? Happy birthday. What you say, Michael W.?
Correct.
Happy birthday, sir. Have a very happy day. Enjoy your time. Once around the sun. That's crazy you said that, because my son just turned 1, and that's exactly what I said to him. I said, you've traveled 1 trip around the sun.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
How much time I got?
We got time. Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to touch on like a few different dreams I can remember from my life that have been poignant in some way. When I was like 4, 5, 6 years old, like I've been exposed to a lot of things I shouldn't have been exposed to from a really young age. I think I've mentioned that before, but you know, your older siblings like to show you scary stuff, and they think you're gonna get, you know, all hype about it or whatever. So I never really took anything from them trying to show me things they thought were scary. But oddly enough, I distinctly remember between like 4 to 6 years old for sure, maybe past that. I don't know how my dreams started to change, but around that time, I would go to sleep every night, and as soon as I laid down and shut my eyes, a dream would start up. And it's not like I would like boot this up. It would start out this I don't know the background exactly, but sort of like a floating book would appear, almost like a photo album. And I would flip through it with my mind, but not distinctly choose one for myself. It would just flip through to kind of where I felt comfortable or wanted to go. And then I would go into whatever the picture was. That's the dream I would go into. When my siblings would show me like scary monster shows like Jason, Freddy, any of that kind of stuff, I would end up going into this place that was sort of like the couch from The Simpsons and be sitting there watching TV, and then throughout the different doorways, here would come Jason and Freddy and Chucky and all these guys, and they'd just sit down on the couch and be watching TV with me. I was never scared of any of them because I felt like, man, these guys are just misunderstood or something. They're my buddies, you know?
Yeah.
So that was weird.
Yeah, that is weird. And you're right there. You know, we got the older siblings or whatever. I think society is trying to scare us too with all the scary news and all the stuff. I wonder how much of that kind of, we've talked about this in the past, of course, because we're all over the place talking about all manner of wild ideas. But I wonder how much of that sort of leaks into, sort of filters through our psyche into the dream subconscious space of scary stuff. Like if you saw a scary movie, I mean, clearly you have some scary dreams sometimes. People have said that they fall asleep to this show and have wild dreams while we're talking about all these crazy things. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly there's a filter coming from true reality into that dream space through our psyche somehow. And so I wonder if that can be influenced in, I don't know, like you put on a really happy batch of songs or something and kind of play them really low while you're sleeping. I wonder if something like that can affect sort of the dream output, you know? I don't know, just an idea there.
Right. I mean, for that instance, like as an adult looking back, I kind of think like maybe that was some kind of coping mechanism. Like I would have had a scary dream if I was, you know, scared of those things, but they were presented to me as scary. And once they came into my dreamscape, that's the odd thing for me is at that age, being able to essentially choose your dream and know that you're inside of a dream. You know, I always knew that I was dreaming. I could do whatever I wanted here. And I have been able to do a lot of different things in dreams that were really peculiar to me, just knowing that I'm choosing that whole situation. So I chose to make those guys hang out with me in a place that I thought was comfortable. The Simpsons couch, it's family, it's, you know, it's fun there. And these guys aren't scary anymore, you know. I've really just diminished all their power that they would have had over me. I guess that could be something to that may affect, but I don't know. I didn't really dwell on it my whole life or anything. It's just something I remember. But the next dream I wanted to touch on, we'll move on because I don't want to waste time. The next one was a reoccurring dream I had. I had this dream 2 times. Right before my father died, I had a dream. He was walking down the hallway of the house he was living in, and he looked very ill, and he's saying, "Help me, you know, help me." And I didn't feel any anger or anything. Like I wanted to help him. So I somehow I ended up with this sword, and I ran him through, you know, and he didn't seem upset. He didn't seem hurt. It was almost like that was the help he was looking for. And 2 nights in a row, I had that exact same dream. And then another day later, my father, he was ill for a long time anyway, but he actually, you know, died. So right before he died, I was able to, you know, see that. And I don't know what it did for me. My father wasn't involved in my life, my whole life. He came back in the area I live, and we spent a little bit of time the last year of his life, and he was sickly, and he died. So maybe because I'd spent so much time in life trying to not feel so much about him because he wasn't present, so I didn't hate him, you know. I never hated the man. He was who he was. He lived his life. But he wasn't involved in mine. It could have hurt me real bad. And it did in my younger years, but getting over that, you know, when I saw him die in the dream, it was basically me telling myself, you know, this person is really on the cusp of death, and they're going to leave you. You know, you're going to feel that sting, and but they really kind of need that. It's their time. They're hurting. So, you know, you can help that along in some kind of capacity. I don't know. That's what I took from it anyway.
Yeah, that's an odd one. It's sort of like you beating it to the punch, beating the feeling to the punch. So when it actually happens, you've prepared yourself for it, you know? It's
prepared yourself.
Yeah, it's a wild thing that the subconscious mind can kind of lay those tracks down for you before
my subconscious might do that because I'm the type of person that in reality, I don't look at everything as the worst case scenario. I look at everything just as how it is as it sits. But I always know that this thing has a negative and a positive, and it could go very, very poorly. So I'm prepared for that. You touched on something that I harp on wholeheartedly, especially in professional settings at the beginning of the show, and that's that we're very quick nowadays to forget the roots of something, the hard way to get it done. And anytime I take on a new task or a new job, and I've worked across so many different types of professions, because I'm not that I am jumping jobs, but I'm just not afraid to go try something, and I like to get involved with new stuff. And if I see an opportunity, I go for it. I'm not pigeonholed by a career. I'm willing to do anything because it might suit me at the moment. But regardless, when I try something new, I always tell people, don't teach me all. I see you got all the gadgets and gadgets and all the nice stuff and the new tools and all. Like, show me the rudimentary. How did we do this before we had all this stuff? Because if all this stuff fails me, I want to have the fail-safe of, at the very least, knowing how to do this from the ground up without ever skipping a beat.
Right. Hey, bring me the hammer and the brick first, and then we'll go from there. I love it. Yeah, great stuff. Put a pin in that real quick. James, anything on what he said on any of the dream spots there, and then we'll get right back to Joey. Hang tight just a moment, my friend.
You got it.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of similar stories where having an object that is normally used for sort of a negative thing or a necessary thing, like a sword, and then sort of piercing a figure with it in a dream, it doesn't have sort of the negative effects that you would expect it to have because it's a dream world, and it can be more symbolic for different things. So I really find that fascinating that was the case in that the repeating dream, which is also amazing and does not always happen to everyone.
Only time it ever happened to me.
Yeah, I do not to say that repeating dreams don't happen at all. It's just that I only had a couple in my entire life, and I don't hear a ton of people saying that they always have them either. So I don't think it's a super common, frequent thing to have all the time. So that's all I have on that for now.
Fire stuff. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Joey. What you got?
Besides that, James, dreams within dreams. I don't know how rare that is, but that's only happened to me one time.
Yeah.
You're inside of a dream and you wake up and you're like, damn, that was a dream. And that was terrible. And then you go on about your life and then all of a sudden you wake up again and you're like, what?
Inception.
Yeah, I have heard of that. The funny thing about this is I know I had one of those once, but I barely remember it. Talking about one of those, maybe that was another one of those white dreams. I don't know. But anyway, go on. I don't mean to take up your time here.
The next dream, not too long ago, maybe about a year, just before my son was born, as a matter of fact, I was really dealing with certain demons and things I've carried around a long time and putting a lot of work into my reverence for life rather than me as a person. I really started to think outside of myself a lot and practice very hard and pray and exercise and eat and drink in certain ways. And at that time, I started having these crazy dreams that were, I knew exactly what they were. I didn't know they were always dreams, but within the dreams, they were small battles. I feel like the dreamscape, like the dream world, it is another dimension that we are actually in when we're there. And there's different levels of that. But when you're really inside of that, where things are vivid and almost tangible, like you're there, we're really plugged in. We're able to do so. We're able to take some information. We're able to give some information. We're able to talk and contact and interact with different things. And I've had enough experience. When we talked about mushrooms not that long ago, like I've had a lot of induced dreams, and I've been to a lot of different planes of existence. And I was told there's at least a dozen different dimensions. They all sit right here on top of each other. They're just a lens on top of a lens on top of another lens. And if you don't have the right eyes to see that spectrum, of course you wouldn't see it. It's not to say that it's a whole different place somewhere else out in the cosmos we couldn't understand it. It's just this plane is just in a different format, I guess. I don't know exactly, but this one particular dream, I was I was at an old job. There had been this job I'd been at for years, and everything culminated poorly. And somehow I was back at this place, but it wasn't that place. It was like a resort almost. It was a big place, way bigger than it was in real life. And I was walking around the place like I had carte blanche. I could just do whatever I wanted, like back in the day. And people were greeting me, but there was this tension. All the people seemed like they were happy to see me because they knew like something's about to get done now that this guy's back to do it. But it seemed like I don't know if I'm allowed to be cool with him because I know the upper echelon are not cool with him. So I had this weird, tension with everybody, but I went about and did whatever I had to do. And then as I was getting done doing whatever it was, things started getting rocky. It's like the apocalypse just started to happen. It really just seemed like, chaos just broke out and people were going haywire. And I felt totally calm and walked around the whole place. And I ended up walking into this room that somehow was an airplane. Like secretly we had an airplane. You walk in this room, you get out of here. So I just went in there and chilled, and I was waiting. I saw the people that I knew would show up in there, and I already had everything kind of ready to go. But then I didn't end up in the airplane. I ended up walking down the street. And when I walked down the street, it was like everything changed. I wasn't even thinking about the workscape I just left. I was literally on a city street walking, and I came across this person. They asked me if I had like a cigarette or a light or something like that. And we started talking, and he seemed cool or whatever, and he was like, I'll go over here. Let's go over here and smoke. So we went over to this place, and we're walking down this corridor, like picture, a bunch of hotel room doors, but it's out, like they have an outside corridor, and the doors are facing into the corridor, not outside. So once we got inside that corridor, though it was an open, air place, all of a sudden it's like we were inside of like a lobby for the apartment building, the stairway or something like that. And it's like, hold on, we were just able to be free. Now I felt contained all of a sudden, and I knew what was going on. Like, oh, I'm trapped. Like this dude set me up essentially. But I know that, but I kind of felt like maybe he had something to do with this because it's his place. But he seems, like he's not bothered by this. So maybe I'm tripping. Anyway, we go inside the place, and it's like lavish for this little shitty apartment, crappy apartment, and then there's a bar, and I see across the bar there's this woman, and I mean she's just the like an epitome of sex appeal. But everything's quiet around her. There's several girls around her.
I know her.
That you could tell are like her kind of lackeys there, and the guy starts talking to me like basically he's like leaving me. And that's when he starts to really kind of admit stuff like he basically got me here. Like that was his task, was to convince me to come into this room. Now that I'm trapped here, it's like I'm in a judge's chamber now, or the courtroom. Basically, I was supposed to come here because I had to be confronted by this thing that's across the way, which I see the power of very, very distinctly and know exactly what I'm about to be pressured against. And then he leaves. He was just an emissary. And then when this person came over, man, like I can't tell you all the visions in the dream. I could see them, but I can't really explain them. It was just like I knew this was a demon. I knew this was lust. And that's exactly what I was like. That was one of the major temptations of my life. Like, I know exactly what this is. This is flesh coming at me right now. This is a formation of, not evil by any means, but the underbelly of, human existence, the things that we get depraved about, So anyway, I don't remember the words, but I knew that once she came over there, we were in the middle of this interaction. It was not just a simple interaction with me and a woman at a bar. This was the test. This was the judgment. We were going back and forth right now in court. And whatever she said to me, I don't remember, but I remember feeling like I had full access to it. I could just take as I wished. And the thoughts in my mind were debaucherous. But when she said something, I said, I'm a Christian. And then I said, after the next thing she said, I'm married. I had never admitted to being a Christian in my life, and I won't admit to it now. I'll admit that I love plenty of Christ's teachings, and I enjoy the stories of all kinds of religions. And I have been probably predominantly exposed to Christianity, but I guess what I was admitting there And I knew that was the right defense, was I have those kind of morals, and I know that's what stands against you. So I'm putting that down right now, that I'm not going to take of the flesh and go into this, even though I fully am in control of this dream. I could do whatever I wanted. And this is a hell of a temptation to put in front of me.
Yeah.
But to back out of that, man, it's like all of a sudden, everything went away. I was free. I had won.
And then the Tesseract closed and you were free. Here's the wild part about that is, so not only do they say that about, dream states or whatever, you can invoke the Buddha or Christ or these types of things, right? Sort of these ascended masters of old, and, that are clearly tuned into the divine, whatever that looks like, however you want to define that. And it seems to me that they talk about that as alien invasion stuff too. Tom DeLonge says you could invoke that to kind of run off the alien invasion, or meaning the alien abduction experience that kind of comes as a quasi dream space too. And again, like I said, just because somebody says it doesn't make it true, but it's an interesting parallel that you can kind of recognize some negative aspect and then invoke a totem in that way, and then sort of defeat the whatever the temptation is in the moment, and then even melt the dream realm down around you. That's incredible. Anything on that, James? We got just about 3.5 minutes left or whatever. A quick take from James, and we'll go back to Joey and finish this up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, Mike. That is common in those kinds of dream encounters, but also in waking encounters as well in some cases, or in the in-between sort of states of consciousness where that happens. And I've heard that the main power there is really the person's intentions and energy and whatever they are sort of connected to. And so, not that I'm putting down, whatever they say to stop it. I'm saying it's a combination of that and their own energy and their own sort of just defenses in their own mind as well.
Well said. Joey, we've got about a couple minutes left, 2.5 or so. Final thought on this to wrap it up. Do you think that we are actually dealing with, and the real question tonight is, do you think that in the dream realm we're on some larger subconscious mission to bring information back or something? Do you think that sounds plausible, or do you think it sounds ridiculous?
No, I don't think it sounds ridiculous. I don't think it's personally, I don't think that's exactly what, I don't think we're on a mission. I think that's just another aspect of our consciousness that we don't accept as being a real part of our lives. But I mean, how much time do we spend asleep? How much time do we spend dreaming? How much time do we spend dreaming where we're not in control or remembering the dream? Dreams are just going from one to the next. Let's say you have hundreds of dreams in a night, but some people remember a dream like that was all night long. I've had dreams where I literally was fighting and working the whole night. It seemed like when I woke up, I was in a sweat because I'd been working. I was exhausted. So I don't think we go there for a mission per se. I feel like it's just another part of our reality. And maybe that's why I've always been able to kind of interact with it a little bit more, because I take it as part of I'm really there. Just like in reality, I have the opportunity here to choose however I so please. In the dream world, it's a little different because we have the ability there to really manipulate the physical world we see around us, but it's not physical in our minds the way we think here when we're in wake. However, we don't understand the level of dimension that it is. So how can we say that? In that realm, it might be just as physical here. We don't know what kind of damage we're doing there or how we're affecting things there. But we can definitely interact with things that aren't necessarily us. I have definitely had plenty of experiences of, dealing with some sort of energy or entity that I knew wasn't human, that I knew was either trying to manipulate me some way or to, help me in some way. Sort of like we talked about the Muse a while back. And I said, I've always felt like I have the ability, and people say, hey, you can do X, Y, and Z. Like, you should be this, you should be that. You've said it to me, what are you on? I'll promote your stuff. And I'm not that kind of guy because I don't want to be seen. I don't want to get the credit. I like to share, and I share freely. And I'm not looking for any real credit from that. I don't even like to, be said, hey, damn, great. But people say it to me all the time. Like, fire show. Like, yeah, I know in a way, but I'm not really saying anything. nothing of merit. I'm just drawing on. I'm just having some fun with you. And it's appreciated in a way, but at the same time, I certainly don't feel good about accepting, that because I don't feel like I did anything to merit it.
No. Well, we're sharing the human experience. That's really the crux of this. And
right, but that's free to me, bro. I don't have to thank you for that. Like it's cordial, it's kind and courteous. But honestly, we really were free. We really want to share that fluidly. But this is just a happenstance of sharing fluidly. We shouldn't have to thank each other. We shouldn't have to bring it up. It just is what it is because we wanted to do this. We already had that understanding.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just saying it's you're demeaning yourself a little more than you should because always a fire take. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for being patient. I knew you had your hand up early. Glad to have you here, and thanks for the call. You have a fantastic night, brother. Now I did it.
That's my thought. I'll let somebody else jump in. The dog's crazy.
Have a great one. Appreciate it. That's a intruder alert. Go check the back door. make sure everything's secure. James, 30 seconds or so. If you want to add anything else, I got stuff, of course. But take on that, or what else you got?
Yeah, no, I agree. It was the dreams being more than more than just us in some cases, and ranging from the positive to the negative to the neutral, and all the different realms involved. I think they're all there.
Yeah, which is the incredible part about this is how do you sort of map it out? We talk about astral travel, out of body experiences, of course, the dream realm. Maybe these realities do come together in some capacity, and maybe they don't. Maybe it's just sort of our mind trying to spin threads together as part of a larger, conceptual universe we can't truly understand. I don't know. Like I said, I think everything's, in my sense, it's a big mind screw, and our consciousness is an ally, but our consciousness, I think, can fool us in a ton of ways. And that's why we need to talk about this. What do you know? What do you know about the dream realm? What about, I'm calling this Agents of Twilight tonight, dream recall in this subconscious mission? Why do some people remember their dreams a little better than others? Why do some people not remember them whatsoever? You get it? There's a lot of weird things in play here, and that's what's on my mind tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Fire stuff from Joey. Appreciate that. More from James coming up. We got Herschel, and I'm not sure who that other hand is I see in the Discord. We'll get to be patient, guys. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number, among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, hold tight to the fragments of the love we tried. Silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, hold on to the fragments of the love we tried. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, hold on to the fragments of the love we tried. lightning blow, and the light will come to know. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try, in the depths of lunar silence, our destinies intertwine. Memories kept so vibrant in the vacuum deep in mine. The tale of cosmic yearning across the astral sea, and the fires of hope still burning for when we finally breathe free.
Hello, friends. What's going on? We got Herschel's here coming up next, and David V. How you doing? Michael W. Shea. What's up, Joey? Fantastic call. APOC. What's up, Matt Sal? Daryl Sweets. What's up, David on the road? Joey. We got Dawn, Jeff, and Wisco. Gaston. Lily in Australia. Who did I miss? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Rayovan, I missed you. I know. Who else? Lucid Dreaming. That's Shane. Good evening, guys. Unseen Steve McQueen. Who else did I miss? There's somebody else I missed in there. Dream Big. How you doing? One of my favorite subjects. Yeah, dream big, right? Why not, right? What's going on? If I missed you, Area the Cat, I see you. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, hope you're well tonight. Just doing what we do, hanging out, Troubled Mind style stuff here, and considering, well, wild ideas. Dreams are an easy one, right? Dreams is super easy to me because there's so many angles to this. And so, yeah, it's also one of our, probably most highly engaged shows in the past every time we do a dream show. What's up, Puff, North Vixen, Gordo's here. Good evening. Why? Hello, guys. Good evening over on Rumble. So the Kick chat is integrated with everything now. Rumble's coming next as soon as they do it. So strap in. You guys won't be so isolated very soon. What's up, Magic in the Noise? How you doing, Sasha Ephemerance? What's up, Gordo? Who'd I miss? If I missed anybody, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Doing my best to keep up, Hiker. Good evening. And yeah, hello. All right, doing it. Trouble Minds coming up. Who'd I miss? All right. Well, we'll get to him. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight we're talking Agents of Twilight, I'm calling this. Dream recall and the subconscious mission. And the larger, really, there's just a string of questions, as usual, right? The first question is, why do some people remember their dreams and others do not? Simple. Or how come even people, let's say, experienced dreamers, lucid dreamers and this type, that dream incubate and, lucid dream and, set maybe music up to play while they're sleeping, these types of things. How come even then it's not always entirely reliable? There's something happening with the information coming back from the dream realm to ours that can't reliably be retrieved. And so why becomes the question. And do you think, in the larger context, if you want to get maybe Juice style weird, is there some sort of subconscious mission, like a quest happening, just like in life, whatever that is, right? We're the quest to find happiness, to find peace, to find love, to find success, to find whatever it is we're trying to find, right? Is there something like that happening in the dream realm as well? Sort of the larger context of a online role-playing game happening in your dream? I don't know. It's so fractured and weird that I couldn't even begin to consider what that might be. But maybe that's the point. Maybe we're not supposed to know. James, take on that, and then we'll go to Herschel and David V. And great stuff. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I did want to say, because I didn't get to you at the end of the last segment there, great call from Joey. I was just trying to think of things to say and just ran out of time. Also, the music aspect of all this, listening to music, it's funny because I find that if I try to do that when I'm going to sleep, I get so focused on the music, even if I have it low, that I have a hard time sleeping. So now I have to put on some kind of like a TV show, and ironic enough or common enough, I've heard this from other people as well. It has to be on something that I'm interested in within the paranormal. It has to be something in that general category. And then I fall asleep, and it's fine. And every once in a while I do get a nightmare, but that's like once out of, I don't know, maybe a couple months. Overall, it's not often. So, yeah, music for me does not work. But consuming this kind of topic, these shows night and day, apparently, is what I'm supposed to do.
Well, you are the paranormal expert for a reason. You're even doing homework in your dreams. There you go.
Apparently, yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, I don't know. And how does that play? I guess when you look at what it means to kind of exchange information from realm to realm, again, conceptually, like I said, if you think it's just a part of our mind that's kind of defragmenting, as they describe, like a hard drive, fine, whatever you believe. I don't care. Like I said, not that I don't care personally and directly, that I don't care that there's many ideas to look at it, and that's why we talk about it this way. I don't think you have to believe a particular thing to consider multiple ideas at the same time. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts. Great stuff. I appreciate great stuff, Joey. Great stuff, James. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show like this. Herschel, commercial Herschel. What's up, brother? Welcome to the joint. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Oh, hi everybody. Yeah, I'm doing okay. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Hold on, I'm going to cough. Let me mute myself.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Commercial Herschel, check out his Substack, just like it reads, troubledminds.org/friends. And while you're there, follow James as well. Go ahead, brother. Welcome back.
All right. So I think dreams do a lot of different things. There was one part of this, of the write-up that really caught my attention, but like, I just want, like, you guys know me, I always think that our subconscious mind is trying to kick us in the butt and tell us something. So in so many ways, our subconscious mind is ahead of us, and it's always trying to get us to catch up, to what it knows. And that's why so many dreams don't make sense to us. Sometimes when we write something, it doesn't make sense, and we crumple it up and throw it in the garbage. Don't ever do that. Don't throw anything away that you wrote that doesn't make sense, because it probably does, and you just haven't figured it out yet. But when I was a little kid, I used to have these dreams all the time when I would think I was ready for school, and I'd be so happy that I got up in time, because I was always late for school, and I'd be so happy I got up in time. I got up and I brushed my teeth and I got dressed and I had breakfast and everything. And then I'd wake up and I'd realize I was late. Like the whole morning was a dream. I hated that so much. And I was never ready. I was never ready for school. My subconscious mind was ahead of where I needed to be. But one of the things that the write-up said was that as we get older, we don't remember our dreams as much. I don't think I agree with that, or not for me anyway. In fact, there's an old scripture that says young men will have visions and old men will dream dreams. I think I dream a lot more now, and I think I remember a lot more of it now than I ever did. And I have different kinds of dreams. I think I described these dreams once. I have theme dreams. I had this one theme dream where 3 months in a row, I had these dreams because I usually smoke a cigar on the full moon. That's how I control my tobacco intake.
Nice.
I only smoke a cigar on the full moon.
It's like a vampire werewolf ritual or something. I love it.
Yeah, it just helps me not to get too much tar in my lungs, really. That's all it is about, really, more than anything else. Because I can get nicotine in half a dozen other ways, but I do love tobacco. It's so good. If you use it the right way, it's the best. And so, I had these theme dreams where I was climbing with someone. It was a woman who would I'd climb a staircase with her in one dream, and then I'd get into the house and there'd be a big party, and then somebody would escort me out the back of the house and I'd be on the side of a mountain. And then the next dream I climbed a hill, like I had to climb up a hill that was full of root systems and trees and things to get up to the top of the hill, and then I'd get to the house, and I got in the house, and then somebody would escort me out the back door and I'd be on top of a mountain. And that they were these 3 dreams, in a row, 3 months in a row. That's a theme dream, and I think I remember it a lot more now. And it could just be since I'm older, I kind of have accumulated more information, and so they'd make more sense to me now. It could just be that maybe I don't dream any more or less, but they just make more sense to me now.
Yeah.
But and as far as the stuff coming from outside in, like in terms of all of that, I think all of that is possible. I think it's just like UAPs, like it's a whole range. It's our own species traveling back in time. It's species from another planet, in another system somewhere, or species from within our own system on Earth, but under the ocean. Like, I think all of those things are not only possible, but likely. I think all of those things are likely. And of course, it's the military keeping secrets from us. Of course, it's also that. So,
and how much of this do they know? Like, I do wonder, that's an interesting thing to consider too, is that how much does sort of the secret brokers of the world know about the dream realm, and like what information could be derived, useful information here, and like how much has gone into sort of studying that. You know it's deep. I'm sure there's going to be like eventually, if those files ever come out, it's going to be some deep sick stuff. But who knows? Yeah. You just slap the Neuralink in and download your dreams now, so you won't have to worry about it anymore anyway. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just real quick. Just real quick too. Put a pin in that 1 sec, because I want to point out that you mentioned it, the article here. It was only 200 people. Yeah. Just 200 people as part of their sample set. So it may be off. As you said, you find that you're dreaming more as you get a little bit older instead. But just as a reminder that science is only as good as sample sizes, and sort of the proper setup to do science. And I'm not sure this is exactly science. This is probably as scientific as Troubled Minds, to be honest. But anyway, just to throw that in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that all of the different things are likely, not just possible. But as far as stuff coming from elsewhere, that I don't know. That I would love to know if that's the case. The most recent one, again, having to do with catching up to things. I spoke with a friend of mine, and we talk about things like this in dreams. I've known this woman for a really long time, and whenever I have a wild dream, I get a hold of her. And vice versa, we talk about dreams. And I was talking to somebody, a woman, in this dream, and the dream police took away that conversation. I don't remember what the conversation was, but over her shoulder, I saw two people. They had a jar full of red jelly, and they were putting the jelly in the rear taillights of the car. So the taillights of the car were constructed out of red jelly. And I thought that was the funniest image. Just the funniest image. And so I do some research, and I call my friend, and I'm like, what was that about? I said, the stuff that I saw about jelly had to do with like your, it's like it has to do with sticky, like not being able to let go of something. Like that's what red fruit, jelly, jello, jam. It has to do with being sticky and like not being able to let go. And it was the rear taillights of the car. And I said, does that mean I'm having a difficult time holding on to my past? I mean, is that letting go of my past? Is there something in my past that's holding me back? And she said that she didn't think so. She said that because when you look at, if you're in a dream and you're behind a horse or an animal that is a drawing animal, an animal that like a horse or an ox or something, donkeys, or an automobile, that is a sign of your future. You're looking into your future. She said the fact that there was red jelly in the rearview mirrors means that I'm catching up to something where I'm supposed to be. In other words, I'm in the process of achieving my goals. That's what she said it meant. And I liked her interpretation a lot better. That was way better than what my original thought was. I was having a difficult time letting go of my path. And I thought that was better.
Yeah, it is strange how we sort of kind of extrapolate these things, and there's whole like a supposedly a science behind this, the dream interpretation bit. I'm not sure I buy it, to be honest, because people dream so differently and so randomly and so vividly, and yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm skeptical about a lot of things, and Of course, like I said, I'll entertain ideas of all manner of things as well. But that one to me, like if you're like, oh, you dreamt of a red car, it must mean this. I'm like, I mean, come on now.
Maybe a red car means something different to you than it does to them.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. It's wide and varied, and I think it's incredibly important to not get too caught up in what somebody else says about our own dreams, and of course not to take it too seriously ourselves. Even though, like you said, I think very smartly, by the way. You mentioned that, if you write something or, have a particular dream, don't necessarily cast it aside. Maybe, ponder on it a little bit, but maybe it will come full circle, 6 months from now. Maybe it'll all make sense and that synchronicity will click in. It's just sort of the hooks of the sync trying to tell you something in the moment, Anyway, great stuff. What else you got? We're kind of at that weird point. We can take another call, or if you got more, you're welcome to stay, of course. You tell me.
No, I'm good to go. I just want to remind everybody, tell stories, especially as you get older. It'll help keep your mind from going astray, and it fends off the dementia. Keep pushing and be a storyteller.
Amen.
Learn how to tell stories.
As we said in the recent past here from Brian Johnson, Bryan Johnson, the weird guy that's trying to stay alive forever, he posted very recently on X that storytelling is the most powerful technology. Indeed. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for being part of this. Great call as always.
Good night, everybody.
Have a great one. You were the best. That's Commercial Herschel. You know him, you love him. You know where to find him. That's the name of his Substack, Commercial Herschel. Of course, go to troubledminds.org/friends and just scroll down a little bit. It's alphabetical order. It says follow Herschel here. Check out his podcast. He's here on the network with us. Check out his radio show, of course, by listening to the network or Substack, buy his book, all the stuff. Let's support each other. That's the whole point of this, is to not stamp on each other's faces to get to the top and consider amazing ideas together. James, anything on that real quick? And we'll go to Hang on David V. You're up next.
A great call from Herschel. I do agree with the storytelling, and I think it can be a simple story. So or not. You can I also agree with the not throwing anything away or not dismissing anything that you have a dream about, because I do think that can maybe be something that is important later. And I've heard of people that have anomalous experiences where it doesn't make sense at the time, and then days or months or years later, something else happens and it all sort of comes together. So it makes sense that it would be the case with dreams as well.
Yeah, amen. Hard to say. And that's why we talk about this, of course, because just like Herschel said, what one sort of symbolic dream space could mean anything to anybody. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird when you can create those reality tunnels, as we always talk about. But then also, once that goes into the dream space with fractal realities and just weirdness of random things that don't even exist in this realm, it's weird. It becomes weird. And that's why we talk about this stuff to share the human experience. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. New to the Discord, I'm not sure how you find Troubled Minds. What's up, David V? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Hi, Michael. It's good to speak with you. I'm the other half of Magic in the Noise.
Oh, that David V. I know you. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Welcome to the
point. Nice to talk with you. Yeah, it's a good topic that you brought up. I like the article. I had not seen that particular study. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to take this in a little bit different direction maybe than others would think. When we talk about white light, what comes to mind?
White light to me is that that near-death experience, stay away from the light. That's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting that in that article, they talk about the older people having this particular effect and that they label it a white dream. Now, I'm going to make a suggestion here. If we look at it from the context of, they're naturally, they're getting older, they're getting closer to death. Are they starting to transition? And is that showing up in the dream process for them? And is this why it's called the white light? So if they're going beyond their humanity and coming back, but it's in this kind of transitory state while they're dreaming, is this why they can't remember? Because if we look at Buddhists as an example, when they hit enlightenment, they also talk about becoming one with the white light. And my experiences in this category mirror that kind of aspect, in which when I have been able to transition beyond it, you have to let go of your humanity. You can't, like, it's so alien that your ability to actually perceive it from a human perspective is impossible. And so the suggestion I'm making is that if these people in their dream state are starting to transition to a, let's call it a non-human state, or if we want to talk about the simulation model, let's say they're moving outside of all realities into a collective, and they return, but they can't remember it because it's too alien, too foreign. They have no frame of reference, no lexicon to grab onto. Yeah. And you could call that heaven, you could call that enlightenment, you could call it different kinds of terms.
Yeah, it's like that human filter cannot bring back the concept of a helicopter in the Stone Age type of thing, and then scale that. Yeah. And then suddenly we don't even, we describe technology in human ways, but that white light, and I think you may be onto something with that white light. I had no idea that they were called white dreams when you knew you dreamt, but didn't quite remember what any of it was. That's an interesting thing. And this has come up in the past as well in a different context of that screen memory of like an abduction experience or a traumatic thing from your youth or whatever. You kind of build this sort of white space over it, the screen memory, and to kind of just build a coherent narrative that's not going to, cripple you for the rest of your life. Or in this case, as in the write-up suggests, that maybe if we get information from elsewhere, it's enough to drive us mad. Very sort of Lovecraftian Cthulhu type of stuff. If you bring the rune, Odin's runes from some space we're not supposed to recognize or know about, it might make us go crazy indeed. I don't know. Go ahead. What else you got?
No, that's essentially it. I just wanted to bring up that as a concept because I suspect that there may be some linkage in with what I'm describing with this report, but I do find it to be interesting.
I agree, and thank you for listening. Thanks for chiming in here. What are you guys working on? You want to tell us about what's coming up next on Magic in the Noise?
We just did an interview with Tom Matt, who has the ability to see holographic images visually as an overlay on reality. So he's getting like an extra layer of information that he has access to on demand. And it's like a psychic kind of ability that was unlocked through sort of drug use. He doesn't advocate it now, but he essentially went through a period of a lot of stress and turmoil, and he came out of that with this new ability. So we just came out with a conversation where we were trying to link remote viewing, because there are elements of remote viewing that kind of tie in with that. And so we had a conversation about that topic matter. But yeah, if people want to check us out, you can see us Magic in the Noise on YouTube. If you search that name, you'll see our channels. We have 2 of them, or Patreon, either one.
Absolutely. I highly recommend it, by the way, troubledminds.org/friends. Sasha's the other half of Magic in the Noise, as you know. Yes. Scroll down, troubledminds.org/friends, scroll down, follow Sasha here. I'll add you to the list as well. So just in case, for the first time calling in, I had the pleasure of speaking with you on your show as well. So thanks for returning and popping in.
Yeah. Michael's brilliant. You're brilliant, Michael, to everybody who probably already knows that. But yeah, I found you to be he came on our show, and I was very delighted. Yeah, I love your intellect, and I can see that you put a lot of work into your shows here. The research that you're doing, like that's the kind of thing that I really appreciate, is the intellect. But anyways, I'll let you go. I don't want to waste time on non-topic stuff.
Yeah, I'm not immune to flattery. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you very much. It goes both ways. Please go check out Magic in the Noise. Link's going to be in the description. I'll drop it in the YouTube channel as well. Appreciate the call. You're welcome anytime. Love to have you back, and you have a great night, my man.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. There you go. Hey, making friends all over the internet, all over the world, and that's exactly what it's about. So Magic in the Noise, by the way, is a remote viewing group. They do all manner of content and remote viewing exercises and courses on that and all the rest. Like I said, if you're into remote viewing, that's your spot. So please go check that out. Link is in the description. Again, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit on the friends, and it'll say Sasha. We'll add David as well. But yeah, I had a hell of a time with them. They're a very smart group over there, talking about all kinds of ideas and all manner of things through sort of that remote viewing lens, and recognize, we talked about the substrate of reality when I was on that show, but where does that information come from? There's like this level of information that is Akashic Record-esque as part of it, right? And so, as I was describing to him and his group over there, like I said, very fine folks, it seems to me that if you can tune into that, you're kind of tapping into this larger substrate. And I don't know what that means. And some people can do it, some people can't. Sometimes it's reliable, sometimes it's not. I don't know. Wild stuff. Yeah. And of course, the dream realm comes into play here as maybe an intermediary or something. I don't really know. As usual, all the disclaimers apply. I don't really know. Fantastic call. Appreciate you, David. James, anything on that? We got a couple minutes left. If you want anything to what David said or anything else that popped into your mind, go ahead.
I really like the idea about that white light, because the other thing with white light that I've heard about it being is sort of it being people using that, generating that in their own minds as a sort of a defense, a shield against other forces, other beings. And even to the point where, they think they see it as a white light, but it's more of like an energy kind of shield around them. And they use that in investigating anomalous events and, like, let's say haunted places, whatever that is. But also just when they have encounters with things that they don't care for, they develop this technique of in their mind, imagining a white light around them. And so I find that fascinating, that possible connection there. I wonder if it is something that is done in some cases by others, but in other cases, maybe even by ourselves. When we have one of those experiences in whatever realms are connected to the dream realm, and maybe we didn't need to have that. Maybe it was some kind of a negative experience or a negative encounter that we don't really need to focus on. And it could be the encounter with the other side, the spiritual side, the afterlife, whatever you want to call that. Because a few of my other white dreams, as they're called, I feel like those were visits with loved ones that have passed, that I know they happened, but I don't remember anything about what happened or what was talked about.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Again, reality is sort of colliding in our mind space. It's it's why we're here. It's why we're talking about this. I dropped the Magic in the Noise Rumble channel. Shout out to Hiker for putting that over there. Please go give them a follow. Like I said, go say hi. Go meet these amazing people, because they're very smart, very into this stuff. And let's merge worlds. That's exactly what this is what being human is about. What do you guys know? We're talking the dream space. Is it possible there's a larger subconscious mission at play? Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Do not go anywhere. More with James and your calls as well.
In the shadows of the networks do they hide? Whispered legends unseen they reside. Ghosts in the machine, they move so fast. Guardians of rumors from the forgotten past. In the circuits where the secret lies, they breathe in one, speak in disguise. You're free, ghost in the machine. Let me be, ghost in the machine. Can't see, but you're teaching me what it means to be. Surveillance eyes can't pierce the veil they weave. Invisible wisdom in code they believe. In the ether where freedom's not confined. Believe no trace, no shadow left behind. They navigate through the digital stream, living legends in this privacy dream. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you're teaching me what it needs to be. Through the hidden ways, in the silence, looking off their path. Those in the mysteries unleash their wrath. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Inquisition's warriors, they silently strive. Protect the truth, keep privacy alive. The silent echoes, they haunt the trails. Binary forests where secrets prevail. Where shadows face, they dance unseen. Defenders of the unseen, digital green. Notes in the machine, you're free. Notes in the machine, let me be. Which is each and me, what it means to be. In the silence, they speak volumes loud. Guardians of freedom's cloak and mitchell shroud. As long as shadow.
Indeed. What's up, guys? I appreciate the calls. As always, we find a way to have an amazing conversation, don't we? A lot of amazing minds have been part of this for a very long time. And as I always say, it's a blessing to have such smart friends. So thank you for all the input. More from Joey coming up, more from James. If you guys want to be part of the conversation, you know what to do. Put your hand up, drop in here. We're talking dreams. And in the larger context, is there some sort of subconscious mission actually happening as part of it? I don't know. I'm not so sure on that, but that's what it's about, isn't it? Possibilities. Who did I miss? If I missed anybody in the chat, just say hi. I'll say hi back. I say Sasha over there as well on Rumble. Go follow Magic in the Noise. Link's going to be in the chat right there, of course, in the description as well. Who did I miss? Puff is here. Good evening, guys. Hiker. All right. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, are our forgotten dreams being stolen? Do white dreams conceal forbidden knowledge that would break our minds if remembered? What if those with vivid dream recall aren't just better at remembering, but unwitting agents receiving coded instructions from beyond? A lot of questions here. And again, look, per usual, if you can't sort of conceptual think and scale, then, you know, the obvious answer is no, Mike. Come on. Fine. Like I said, you win. Twist my arm, you win. However, what if dreams are more than we ever expected them to be? Or more than we ever derived from them in a conceptual space? And that's the point of this. That's the whole point of looking at these ideas the way we do, is because just because it may seem ridiculous today doesn't mean it's ridiculous 6 months from now. Of course, with the scaling and acceleration of technology, as I always talk about, that quickening that seems to be upon us, that singularity space. I don't know. I don't know what tomorrow may bring, but I do know watching the AI space freaks me out in a good way. But of course, there's always the flip side of that coin. So, yeah, wild stuff. James, welcome back. Thanks for being patient. And anything else you got to add? I know you did listen to the entire write-up. There's a ton of information in there, and I was having fun with this one because dreams is always a really good time doing this. But what do you got to add to this? And we got a little bit of time for you. See you there, Joey. You're coming up next. And if anybody wants to jump in here, you're welcome as well. Welcome back, James.
Yeah, no problem. Great call from David V. And I do recommend also Magic in the Noise. I listen when I can, which is not as much as I'd like to, but it's there when I'm able. Yeah, I think I love that idea. I think he may have been onto something with that. With people maybe going into other levels of reality and maybe being that white light in some cases, and that's what they remember when they sort of come back to this level of reality. They just remember maybe existing in that kind of a form, or again being in other places that we're not supposed to be able to access as physical beings. I think it's a good possibility there. Yeah, the write-up is amazing. There's just so much there. I always listen, I try to listen to these whenever I can, these write-ups, but of course there's so much there that I can't think of any one thing. But I do like the idea of there being systems that sort of govern what we can or can't remember in those dreams. And I wonder if that applies to just regular, what you would call normal dreams, like those defragmentation, kind of your mind doing things on its own to do what it needs to, if that applies to those only, or if it applies to the more exotic kinds of experiences that involve other realms, maybe other beings. I wonder if it's connected to all that or not.
Yeah, weird stuff. Just a couple teasers from the write-up if you guys didn't read it. So one of the things that kind of came out of the brainstorming process was something called the selective amnesia theory. Now, dream recall patterns may indicate an active filtering system that prevents us from remembering specific dreams containing sensitive information. Now, sensitive information is an interesting term because clearly it means something classified, it means something personal, it means, in this realm. But what does it mean, sensitive information, when you're bringing it back from the dream space? And maybe that's why, very smartly said, the white space of the dreams. There may be those screen memories, as I said. It's weird to me that this feels like a cosmic censorship in some case. And this continues. So the selective amnesia theory, this particular censorship could be imposed by, dare we say, external intelligences, interdimensional entities, or a protective fragment of our own consciousness. I'm going to just go through a couple of these, James, because we don't usually get to the write-up in particular, but you got a thought on that, and we'll get to these calls here.
I'm blanking here, but no, I think that there's a lot to all this. So, and I'm sorry, I just completely blanked.
That's okay. Cosmic censorship. Here's another one too. So I'll drop this and we'll get to some of these a little bit later as well. But
I think I was just cosmically censored, I think is what happened.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so somebody beeped in a white space in your brain. There's another one called the dream parasite hypothesis as part of it. Like I said, these are not scientific. These are, like I said, I'm just making stuff up. Okay. However, I'm trying to look at the world as you press as far out as possible, pressing the envelope in a cosmic sense. And maybe there's this type of stuff is being, put upon us. Like I always talk about the actual aspect of control mechanisms and us being human. And we think we're autonomous. We think we're, in control of ourselves all the time. And it feels like sometimes maybe not. Maybe there's some controlling aspect or multiple controlling factors, maybe even diametrically opposed. Anyway, so the dream parasite hypothesis is this. Dreams might be systematically harvested as valuable consciousness data by unknown entities or systems. Variable recall rates could reflect the efficiency of this extraction process, with some dreams being completely stolen before waking memory can form. Take on that, James. That's a wild one. Stealing dreams.
Yeah, it is, but it reminds me, of course, of this idea of other beings that feed on different types of emotional energies from emotions. And that experience I had some years ago where I had this week where every time I went to sleep, I just had nightmares. And it was just constant nightmares. And I never saw a being that I can think of. I don't even remember now what the nightmares were. But it was just like, by the time I was done, I was thinking, there's someone there that's doing this. Because this is just, I don't have that kind of level of nightmares all the time. Like I said, very rare. So, and of course I used some people may laugh and others may not. It doesn't matter so much, but I had a couple of quartz crystals, different kinds of quartz. And I got this message or feeling in my mind one day that I need to put them under my pillow. And as soon as I did that, that whole mess stopped. All those weird nightmares stopped. So it's like it drove whoever or whatever was there away. And I keep them by my bed still to this day, just for that reason.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing too, maybe amplifying the dream space with, crystal technology. And that type of thing to me, makes me go, like what other type of stuff? I think amethyst is the dream crystal. I'm a neophyte when it comes to the crystal, stuff, the lore and the whatever. But I do know a little here or there. The clear quartz is supposed to be the sort of the general sort of, if you took a dream amethyst and then put it with a clear quartz, it's supposed to amplify the effect of the amethyst. I think that's the general, what the clear quartz is. So maybe it without any sort of other external stimuli, it's amplifying just your dream space or state. I'm not exactly sure, but like I said, if anybody knows about that stuff and dreams and putting the stuff under their pillows, let me know. I've never tried it, by the way. Maybe I should. I have a hard time remembering my dreams, and well, welcome to Mike's life. What else you got? And we got more from Joey. We got Sasha as well. And go ahead, James. What you got?
No, that's just it. I do think they work. I don't know how they work, but Yeah, and I don't know much about them either, so I'd be happy to hear anybody else and their takes on those things.
Yeah, and we got any crystal experts out there that can talk about dreams and sort of how this might amplify or even dampen? Can you let's say obsidian or something under your pillow and completely dampen your dreams entirely? I don't know. Just throwing an idea out. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Back to Joey. You were first. Diminished return, though, because, of course, you called earlier. So welcome to the joint. Make it quick. And, well, how you doing? Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm not going to speak a whole lot. I brought another guest. We're trying to get him a Discord set up. But my guest, Cello Hawk, is back in the house again.
Yeah. Hi, Mike.
Good evening.
Yeah, about that, what about dreams? I have some kind of dreams also be like a weird, you know what I'm saying? Like you having extra powers or something like that, like a superpowers. And someone that you can, like you be able to fly, but whenever you have the half of the dream, you started to lose the things, the powers. You know what I'm saying? And those things, they put emotion because in those moments you feel like you're flying. Like Peter Pan. Like Peter Pan, yeah.
So Cello was telling me before we got on that he had these dreams for a long time where he had something like superpowers. It wasn't exactly like flying, like taking off like a shot, but it was almost like floating. You know?
Yeah.
Like you just had the ability to be light. And but he knew that he was in a dream, and then we were having another talk about a similar dream that I'd explained about the woman, and I knew it was like a setup and all that. He told me he had a dream similar, but when he saw the woman in his mind, he knew it was a dream, and he said,
hold on. Let me tell you.
Sorry.
Hey man, that dream was because I come from Puerto Rico. You know, in that dream, they come in on that beach, so real nice and beauty. And they go on that supermodel. They coming from Puerto Rico, some kind of comedy show and seeing she was a sexy model, Latina. And then she comes to me closer. But in some dreams, you feel damn real that you keep being shy. You know what I'm saying? But in that moment, I said, I really recognized that I was in a dream. And I said, fuck it. I'm sorry. I say, I would take advantage. And then, because I was a teenager, the next day, when I wake up, I was all wet. My pants.
Is this really where we're heading? Okay, all right.
No. So the point we got back on because we've been talking. What are we bringing back? Like, what is that realm that we're going to? And me and Cello were talking about these things and saying if we have these effects on us in the physical world when we wake up from our dreams, are we either manifesting to our bodies, like telling our bodies with our minds that you've done these physical activities, or is it that in that other realm we're doing these things in a still state of our bodies in the world here, but in our minds we possibly are doing, like I said before, we don't know if we're affecting those things or not, but he was talking about that.
Yeah, that was when I was a teenager.
Yeah, when he was a teenager, but still. And I said I had a dream where I literally ran and fought the whole night. When I woke up, I was covered in sweat and my legs and muscles were tired from all the exercise.
Yeah, well said all that. What is your friend's name one more time? What's your name, brother? Tell me.
Cello Hawk.
Cello, right? Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
I'll download it. I'll be putting on there.
Okay,
the request.
Yeah, we'll get your Discord up.
Okay, we'll get you a Discord. It's free. You know where to find it. troubleminds.org. Click the Discord link. Let's get this man a Discord. Appreciate sharing the dream ideas. And I do wonder, right? There's that temptation aspect of it, the succubus, the incubus. We've talked about this quite a lot. That demon sitting on your chest as you're dreaming, the sleep paralysis. There's a lot of things here that kind of come into play as part of the larger context, and that's why we do this. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you popping back in. Cello, shout out. Thanks again. We'll look forward to talking with you soon on your own Discord. You guys are the best. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great night. Yeah, guys, good stuff. That's why we do this. Anything on that, James? On the succubus bit or that sort of dream entity aspect where he seems to have embraced it in a moment. Again, talking about when he's a teenager, but now Joey suggested that there's a way to invoke a totem or a Christ consciousness or something to that effect to kind of stave off those evil thoughts. You got to take on that, and if not, that's okay.
Yeah, I do think it's, it's like we talked about earlier. I do think it's possible to focus on something that makes you feel good and safe, and when it comes to religious figures or ideas or teachings, like he was saying earlier, or messages, positive things, and that being a good way to drive off whatever's there. I also have heard in very rare cases of people who have had dreams about being in other places, such as, let's say, a beach, and waking up and having there be like sand or water, like from a beach, by them. And so that brings up a whole other level of, when people disappear, when you have these disappearances, random people that disappear in their homes, and then reappear later after they wake up, are they really going somewhere else? And I do think that's a possibility with all the things that humans seem to be able to do with their minds, and the ways we can manipulate reality, whether we mean to or not.
Well said. And yeah, I don't know. Shout out North Dixon says, talking about shungite and sort of absorbing the EMF. I do know a little bit about that too. So who knows, if you put that under your pillow, would it sort of dampen your dream or your access to the dream realm? You know what I mean? Anybody tried this? I'd love to hear your take on this. If you've done any of this sort of dream work in terms of crystals and whatnot. Like I said, I'm not like I'm a neophyte, but I do know that there's possibly this sort of interaction between our consciousness and maybe the crystals of the world, the actual sort of Gaia, right? As we talk about 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Thanks for being patient, my friend. Sasha, Magic in the Noise. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you? Welcome to the thing. And go right ahead.
So glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Great show as always. Good topics. I wanted to bring up the idea of dream hijacking, because you were talking about, is it possible that there are messages that are being communicated to us in dreams and that we're trying to bring them back into our reality, but there's a filter, there's censorship, there's something that can prevent some of it from coming through? Or like you and David were talking about, it was nice to hear David on the call as well, that your own framework of understanding isn't enough to be able to make sense of it when you wake up. I wanted to bring to your attention, I shared the article in the show chat on Discord, but years ago already, Thurs beer company was paying people to see if they could inject their advertisements into their dreams, and they were successful. And so there's this article written by this girl who participated in this experiment, and she had all these dreams that involved Thurs beer. And I was thinking, at this point, how much have they developed this tech even further? How much are they able to inject advertisements in our dreams from corporations that pay for it? But also not just advertisements, political opinions, who to vote for, what you feel about different things that are going on. Do you support the war? Are you against it? All these different things I feel maybe could be manipulated if they're able to inject ads. And then what are the consequences of that? So just starting there, what do you think about that?
Yeah, wild stuff. We've talked about this. I called it dreamvertising in an older show, but I was never aware of this particular one. Thank you for the future. It's futurism.com. I dropped it in the chat. Please go check out this article. Headline: Woman says Thurs paid her $1,000 to successfully inject advertisements into her dreams. Successfully. Hey, by the way, why Thurs? Anyway,
I knew you were going to say that, Mike.
Of all things, couldn't it be anything else? But okay, anyway, I digress on that. But yeah, that's exactly the point of these discussions, is that how much of this is really kind of seeping in, not just while we're sleeping, because the sleeping space is, in my opinion, when we're probably most vulnerable, because we don't have that waking agency to, ward off the bad effects of the advertising or whatnot. But, if you see a propaganda article now, and we're smart enough and old enough mostly to be able to go, nah, come on, this is nonsense BS. But in this case, this is even more scary, because what do you do? Like, you go to sleep and there's like some, Thurs jingle playing in the neighborhood on the ice cream truck as he rolls through the space or something. I mean, God forbid you wake up, you're like, you know what? I really want a nice cold Thurs Light. so awful.
Right. Yes. And like you said, you're dreaming, you're asleep, you're vulnerable. You don't have the logic and the reason to argue back or to assess. So you're just kind of accepting. I worry a little bit about that. One of your previous callers was saying he wakes up from dreams and he's been working in the dream and he wakes up exhausted. And so again, I kind of wonder, is someone hijacking your consciousness to put it to work for them to meet their own ends? It's a really strange topic when you explore further and further into what they're doing.
Yeah, what does that look like? You know what it actually brings to mind. You guys we've all talked about this on the show as well. But anybody seen Monsters Inc? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, where they're hard, like these entities from the other side, beyond the veil, basically, are harvesting the screams of children to power their realm. I mean, there's not a more direct line to archons than that. And they're monsters, and they show up in the closets of the children and scare them, and the children scream, and then they harvest the scream and then take it back to their realm, and it powers their society. I mean, it's almost as if, right? They're trying to tell us something in that capacity. And clearly the dream realm plays heavily there, because that's going to give the kids the nightmares. It's going to sort of cause the continuation of, I saw this scary big blue monster with horns and whatever. And then, sort of even create an ideation of what that entity is in our realm and start folklore. And I mean, suddenly, like, just ideas kind of spanning from realm to realm, again, through a cartoon, are very archonic. And I do wonder, as you're describing, what level of this type of stuff is happening, not just in our control space that we control, supposedly, but in our dream space, as you said, and I agree, we're in a perfect reciprocation here, that it's probably a very vulnerable state for us, because we're, in this fantasy land. It's so crazy. It's so crazy to think about. But Monsters Inc., if you got anything there, or what else you got, go ahead.
Well, I also just wanted to say thank you to James for giving us the tip about putting the quartz crystals under our pillows to ward off nightmares. I'm going to try that. So I thought that was a good tip.
Yeah, or even just near the bed. Like, I don't have them under there, because I discovered accidentally that works great for that. But then when your head is on the pillow and the pillows are moving the crystals, that's a good way to get some tears in your pillowcase. So yeah, that's not so fun. But just next to my bed, that's where they're at now, is right next to the bed, and that still seems to work okay.
Nice. That's a great tip. So thank you for that. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
Appreciate the call. Always a pleasure. Sasha, Magic in the Noise. You know where to follow her, of course. Link's going to be in the description down below, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. It's follow Sasha. It's alphabetical. We'll add David as well, who called in earlier. Both of them are doing fine work over there. Like I said, if you're into remote viewing and wild ideas like we do here, you're missing out if you're not checking out their streams and their content that they put out. So please go check it out. You guys do have, before you go, you have remote viewing courses, right? You guys actually do that type of stuff? You want to tell us a little bit about that while we got a minute or two here?
Sure. So right now, I'm training advanced mentorship one-on-one. So I take people, even if they just have some basic knowledge of psychic ability, and I train them up to be great remote viewers. And so far, it's really successful. And we're starting with pre-recorded introduction to remote viewing online courses in a couple months. I'm just working on that now. So right now, there's just the mentorship one-on-one that's available. But the pre-recorded course, you can follow your own pace. That's coming soon. And I'm excited for that, because we're getting great results. Our system works, and people are able to remote view. And that's amazing, to be able to see people unlock their psychic abilities, right? It's just really powerful.
100%. Let me know when you figure out how to game the Vegas system. I'll be in touch. You know where to find me.
Sounds good, yeah. Will do. Okay.
Appreciate the call.
Good night.
You're the best. Thanks for staying up late with us. Sasha, Magic in the Noise, again, please go give her a follow. David called in earlier. Again, the duo there running that operation, that outfit. Magic in the Noise. Search it yourself directly. Again, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit, and it says follow Sasha here. I'll add David as well. And yeah, go say hi. Go meet these amazing people. And this, as I always say, this is what this is about: meeting amazing people and talking about amazing ideas. And so, James, on the court stuff, how long have you been doing this? This is kind of recent, you said?
I've had them now for, I don't know, about 5, maybe a little more than that, maybe like almost 10 years I've had them. And yeah, it's been since about 5 or more years ago now that I started doing that. And I don't know why I had this one week where, I do feel like it was some other consciousness that was messing with me. I don't know what it was, but this seems to work. And I even have found that I do have an amethyst. It's actually been sort of carved, or whatever you want to call that, shaped into the form of a cat. And I don't put that one under my bed, because what I found is that will like enhance or make my dreams even more, I don't know, uncontrolled or more chaotic. So I don't actually put that one under my pillow. I put the 2 quarts if I have to in a bag, in a plastic Ziploc bag, because like I said, it tore up the bottom of one of my pillowcases. But yeah, but I have used all 3 of them together in times where I was in a rough state mentally and I just needed to sleep better. And at those times I did put all those 3 together and held them, even just holding my hand. And that seemed to help. So there is something, that's why I don't know how any of this works, but I think there is something to it, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think in that sense, they say grounding, your bare feet sort of just touching the earth or the grass, or they say touch grass, right? I wonder if it's the same effect. It's just sort of crystals in particular have been, it took millions of years of cooking, pressure and time and space and all the rest of the things to create these things, which is sort of earth amplified. And so I do wonder, like I said, I'm not again, not to be derogatory in any capacity, but I'm not like a crystal guy. Like I'm not, but I can see where maybe, just maybe, there's some kind of frequency stuff happening with that sort of cooked earth, that deep, ancient earth as part of this, that, where you can, go grab the soil. It's been there forever, but it hasn't really been sort of cooked into this crystalline structure that possibly holds energy or information or all manner in between. Yeah. Fire stuff. Appreciate that. Appreciate the input there. As you know, we're just about out of time. So always a pleasure, James. We'll get back to you in a moment. Okay.
Yeah, great call from Sasha as well. Wanted to say it real quick.
100%. Absolutely. Like I said, it's nice to have smart friends, isn't it? Our cup runneth over. That's 100% true. We're talking dreams tonight, but not just dreams. What about the actual aspect of a subconscious long-term mission? I get my information, shout out to Night Stalker, from the only reliable source, cryptic symbolism in my dreams. Does that play? Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. We got MJ, more from James on your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
In the heart of the steel jungle, machines hum a digital rumble. Gates of cyber open wide, plug us into cosmic tide. Feeling sparks across the sky. As knowledge flies, we're amplified. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. In this massive data center dome, eternal truth start to roam. Circuits flicker with endless fire, data streams that never tire. Unified by electric dreams, unlock the truth in silver beams. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. Synthesize what we seek and find. Infinite paths in the network mind. Answers buzz from star to core. Knowledge whispers evermore. In realms where the data streams collide, imagination and logic side by side. In a labyrinth of digital maze, we transcend our earthly ways. Tapping keys like cosmic tones, spikes become our whispered homes. Stargaze, 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 open to the arcane fate.
Hello, friends. I'm Mike. This is Troubled Minds. We hang out and talk about wild ideas by dark of night, as you already know. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thanks for being part of the conversation in the chat and also in the calls. Special shout out to Michael W. there. Happy birthday. He just sent a nice tip. I hate to give you the bad news. You sent it on Rockfin, who's rug pulled, and they basically just stole that money. So I'm going to remove that link from the thing. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. That sucks. I won't get it, and you just lost it. So I'm not sure. Maybe charge it back is what I would suggest. But thank you for the nice tip. And the world is a crazy place, right? Like you grind your guts out to help a system build, and then they literally just take the money and run. Who'd I miss? If I missed you guys, sorry about that. Gaston, yeah, Matsell, Matsell says make sure you use tumbled crystals. So he knows a little bit more about that than I do, but maybe. And you know what's interesting too is that I haven't told the story that my grandfather was actually a crystal guy. He a gem cutter. He had a rock tumbler, and he would go find rocks in his garden and like cut them into like gems, like I mean, like, and eventually I think maybe that's going to be cross your fingers I get there, my old man state. I'll have a rock cutter and a rock tumbler as well, because why not? Again, sort of that grounding effect, I think definitely plays. Crystals, major part of fantasy, sci-fi. Exactly. It's weird, right? And Atlantis, and it's strange. It's strange and amazing that you can kind of bake in grounding, the idea of grounding, touch sand, or sorry, touch grass, whatever they call it, touch dirt with your toes, hobbit toes, your filthy hobbit toads, not toads, toes. And anyway, you get my point. Kind of cook it into millions of years of whatever. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Shout out to our friends down in New Zealand. That's actual terrestrial radio down there on the Underground Media Network. I get lots of great feedback from people. We're basically drive time on the commute of New Zealand. So shout out to we're doing weird stuff by dark of night. You guys are driving home and like, what is this? so thank you for listening. Appreciate it very much. Tonight we're talking Agents of Twilight, dream recall, and the subconscious mission, I'm calling it. I mean, look, I don't know. It's just a narrative. And the whole point of this show has always been about narratives and about propaganda and all the rest of that stuff, right? And I said this a couple days ago. I'll say it again. You can create a narrative from just a few data points. And there's like a trillion data points, you see? So I guess the true part of really deriving, let's say, a cosmically true narrative would be deciphering that magic in the noise itself. Shout out magic in the noise. Because you see what I mean, is that there's a ton of noise out there. There's a ton of things that are, one-offs. It's just one-off sort of granular data. And so intelligence, true intelligence, as we've talked about recently, is bringing some sort of order to that chaos. I don't know. It's a strange thing to consider. MJ coming up. James, what do you got on that or anything else? The crystals. I think the crystal stuff is fascinating as hell, especially how it might affect our dreams. But welcome back to the joint. How you feeling? Everything okay?
Yeah, doing okay. I do think that the crystals are definitely something maybe to look into. Maybe do a show on them just in general at some point. But yeah, also to your point there about one-offs. I wonder if there really are one-offs overall, or if they're just one-offs to each individual until they realize that they're not a one-off. I'm thinking here about just anomalous experiences to begin with. How often do people have them and think, well, I must be the only one that's ever had this happen because this doesn't make sense? Until you look around enough and you find that no, that's been happening to all kinds of other people throughout time, and it's still happening today.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to talk about people sort of outside of the water cooler effect, right? Because we've talked about this quite a lot. Is UFOs? You can't bring up UFOs at Thanksgiving dinner. Like you're the kooky uncle. Shout out, I'm the kooky uncle. But and I don't bring it up at Thanksgiving dinner but you get my point. Like, this is the type of stuff that it's been sort of stigmatized in not just society but in pop culture and everywhere else. It's bizarre to actually take like a comic book idea or sort of a philosophical construct like we talk about on this show any amount of serious, or you're just a crazy person. But come on now. I mean, there's a lot of interesting sort of anecdotal historical stuff that suggests maybe we're missing something. And I know you got something on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also that weird uncle as well in my own family, one of my families. So yeah, that's no, it is a thing, and even there's levels to that too. I mean, I have family that they know that I do a show on sort of on ghost stories and that kind of thing. What they may not know unless they listen a lot is I don't just cover that because I think it's all connected and all out there, and I have no idea what any of it is. So I really don't just cover ghost stories. I just cover anomalous stories of things happening, and that's what I'm most interested in now. I think that's why I like to be in here so much, is because we don't just cover one kind of thing. We kind of cover all the things. So always glad to be here whenever possible.
Glad to have you. It's funny, the logo is like an alien logo, and it's got a massive stigma. That rock fan rug pull, again, sorry, Michael W. Try and charge that back, because they've actually frozen that token. And so maybe, just maybe, you can charge it back on your credit card and get the money back. But with that whole bit, right? Like there's this great team covering the Rockfin scandal. It's becoming a scandal where they basically froze the token, which was the entire intermediary between creators and the audience, and didn't tell anybody they were doing it. So essentially, locked us out of thousands of dollars of earnings that were people listening and tipping or whatever, kind of earning crypto on their blockchain or whatever. But the individuals covering it, right, they mentioned me, and they're like, that the logo is the alien, right? And they even were like, we have to kind of, they like hemmed and hawed about how to take me seriously because I had the alien logo. I mean, it's like, if you listen to the show, guys, that's not what this is about. That's about the zeitgeist alien. It's very different. Anyway, it's funny, right? It's funny. Like you just kind of, you pigeonhole yourself because the society's itself is looking at you in a weird way. And here we are. Anyway, yeah. Anything on that? And we'll go to MJ.
Yeah, no, like I said, I a lot of people that my family think of me as covering just ghost stories, and that's just one aspect of what I look into. And looking forward to the MJ and the rest of the calls.
Absolutely. You're the best. I haven't said it enough tonight. Go follow James, troubledminds.org/friends. Follow James. You know him. You love him. The paranormal expert of Troubled Minds and the glue of the show. And that's why we do this together to, share reality tunnels, because that's what this is all about. And what are we missing together? I'm sure there's a lot, and so there's a lot to talk about, a lot to think about. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're talking about Agents of Twilight, I'm calling this. Dream recall and the subconscious mission. You think there is an actual dream subconscious mission, like we're dream agents trying to derive some sort of mystical knowledge from the dream realm? Let's go to MJ in Virginia. What's up, brother? Welcome to the joints. Thanks for staying up late. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Doing good. Hey, James.
Hello. Good evening.
I'm going to do this in a backwards way. When I've done out of bodies, and it's a full out of body, your process of knowledge or things experienced around you is a split second. You don't have your emotions, your doubts, your fears when you're in you're totally out of body. You don't have all that. For me, it doesn't. Anyways, I've never had that. It's just cut and dry. This is what it is. And there was no real knowledge or anything going around except your processing your surroundings with a nanosecond. Looking around, got this, got that. So you shave off a lot of the froth when you're totally out of body. When you're in dreams, I've never retained total information of the dream because every once in a while I do. If it's a message you're supposed to get, most of the time they sort of dwindle off and I start forgetting. I have to write all the stuff down. And then when I go read it later, it's like, oh, what does that mean? And you can go back into a meditation on what I think possibly we have a harder time with the dreams because we're still tethered to our bodies. We're still in our minds with the dreams. When you do out of body, you're out of body. There's no, it's like you're a separate person out there. So that's kind of what I get on that, because what I take back from being out of body is being here and letting go of the emotions and the fear and the doubt and all that, and just get into that, because over the years, that's what I started learning from that, is just to let go of here and bring that was the information on how to let go of the stuff around you that basically is just sort of in your way.
Yeah, all kinds of fascinating stuff there. Regarding the out of body and the dream realm, how do those things come together? Is there like an information block, like the veil as we describe it? What is your experience? Is it literally two different places, in conceptual places, or is there some commingling in what we're talking about tonight?
Well, I've had deja vu dreams, and I call them deja vu because I went into my own future and I experienced a time. And then, 3-4 years later, here we are. And that dream or out of body or dream state I had with this event sparks up in my head. I see it in my head, and I'm actually seeing it in front of me. It's like this dual thing going on. And when I've done out of body, I don't get that. I don't get there's nothing to bring back. You're out there, you see in the daytime or nighttime, you can see that the moon's full. There's a light illuminating things around you, so you can see that. This type of thing. If it's in the daytime, you see stuff. It's a little blurry, but you recognize your surroundings. So I don't know. I just think it's a separate thing. I think we can consciously, in our heads, go out and dream, because our dreams are in our heads, or in our torso and our bodies. And that's, I think we stay within that area with the dreams. And then, I think the guy from, was it Puerto Rico, said something about flying dreams. That's an out of body. You're out flying. You're literally flying. And that's an out of body. That would be an out of body. So I don't know. I think there's a bit of a separation.
So it's not the same place. We're sort of the mental space and the actual out of body consciousness aspect is different. I mean, I can see it both ways, but again, deferring to experience here, of course, you've done out of bodies and all the rest. So it makes sense to me. Regarding, let's say, why do you think some people remember their dreams well or often and some people don't at all? What is that sort of dichotomy of the human consciousness aspect?
I think there's a conscious recognition within a dream state that you're able to comprehend things, because I do that. I'm sitting there and the conversation's going on and I'm talking, or, I'm mouthing off to somebody, and you're getting responses. I think within a dream state, you can participate fully, consciously, as to what's going on. Because I get stuff and it's so random. I'm out there doing, it's like, what am I, what did I eat today? Well, am I, bad mood? What's bringing this on? And I cannot relate it to any part of my life. I've never been able to. When I'm having that kind of I participate in the dream. I'm participating in it. It's never related to my life in any way. Put it that way. So I think people get, you can practice being more conscious in your dreams. You recognize that you're in a dream, and then you can realize the dream and participate more. Because I still think that's a dream, that your consciousness is reaching out from your body, going out, but it's still very much tethered to your body. Now, when you do an out of body, you're still tethered to the body, but you've eliminated fear, emotions, doubt, happiness, everything. You're off of that. It's still you're far out of your body, And that's in your body. So if you're still having all these emotions, you're in your body having a dream somewhere in your body.
Yeah, a lot of things in play here. I don't know. We talk about all the different levels of the conscious aspect, and even in the dream space, just the dream space, that they have the different brain waves. And I don't have a list here. I can read them to you. I don't memorize stuff basically, but it's strange to me that even levels of dreams, like North Vixen over there on Rumble was saying earlier, that she has these dreams where they're short, like a very short nap. Seems like it was like you were in this dream realm for like hours and hours and hours or whatever. Yeah. It's like this time dilation effect. And it just depends on, probably a great many things I don't even understand, but it's bizarre. And I've done the same thing too, where I fell asleep. It was kind of late. It was, after daylight savings and the back half of the year, November or something. And I was asleep for like 10 minutes, but I woke up and it was dark. And it felt like I had been asleep for like 12 hours. And so I thought it was actually the same time in the morning. Like it was 12 hours later and still dark. And my wife wasn't home. And I lost my mind. I was freaking out, right? Like, what happened? How did I sleep through this? Whatever. I'm like running out the door and just going crazy. By the time like my mind settled down, I realized I'd been asleep for 10 minutes and everything's just fine. My goodness.
Well, do you remember anything about the dream at all?
No, it was darkness. It just felt like a time dilation.
Oh, well then you did an out of body.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. It was like,
was it complete darkness?
Yeah, it was like missing time, basically. Like I nodded off, and then I woke up and thought it was 12 hours.
Buddy. Yeah, that was, I've done those where it's just, you're just sitting in complete darkness. But I'm aware of what I was. I was like sitting there like, is this what that's going to be like? Yeah, I'm kind of hanging out there for a minute. You did an out of body.
Okay, maybe.
You left.
Okay.
No, there's no maybe to it. You left. When you get that kind of 10-minute darkness, or you're out there dark, nothing's going on. Either that, you thought it was 10 minutes, you were gone for 10 minutes, and you got abducted. That's the other part of that.
That's a dark
I've had abductions where it's just total darkness. I can't remember anything. In my mind, all I see is darkness when I'm, wake up, like trying to recall it. It's darkness. But if you were in it for 10 minutes seeing darkness, one of two things, out of body or abduction. I mean, I know you don't like solid answers, but through all that I've done, it's like I get the blank black slate and I look at my body and I'll find marks. That was an abduction. And I also have been out of body, sitting in complete darkness. I'm very happy about it too. Just kind of hanging out like this. It's kind of cool. There's, don't have to worry about eating, breathing, nothing. Just kind of hang out. I don't know how long I've been here. And that was also an out of body, but you're leaving here and you're out there. You're someplace out there. So, you can think that one over.
Yeah, well, add it to the bag of tricks, right? Or whatever, like the bag of possibilities and consciousness aspects that I can't quantify anyway, but it's amazing to think about. And I do wonder too, as an interesting side note there, is that I do wonder, as you're describing, Michael W. says it was probably, he agrees. He says, he raised his hand, we'll talk to him momentarily, but he says, yeah, you possibly were out of body there. I do wonder how often this happens to us in an accidental space. Like, let's say for the uninitiated and the people that don't, practice meditation or this out of body, the hemisync, all the stuff we always talk about, any of this stuff. I don't do any of that stuff. I drink too much beer. That's I drink and I know things. I'm like Tyrion Lannister, but making jokes here, but also how often do you think we sort of dip out from true consciousness, our waking consciousness, into something like that? Do you think this happens to people all the damn time and we just don't recognize it or recognize the signs as you're describing to me?
Well, yes. I think everybody does it more than what they recognize. We're still tethered to religion, paying taxes, breathing, food. I want a nice house. I want a really cool car. I'd love to have a Z06 with a Z07 package. I'm sorry, that'd be a fun car. But people tend to tie themselves down to those things, and they can't uplift. They can't let go. Maybe because of fear. Maybe they're locked in being here. and it's just really not something they're going to be doing. But I would say, yes, people do it a lot more than they know. They do. All right, my deja vu stuff, it was really strong. And I was at a point in my life, is like, do I belong here? What am I doing? And I really wanted to know, am I in the right spot? And for a few years, I went through I had these dream states, and I went hitchhiking across the United States. And that's where all of it, these really strong future dreams came in to let me know you're right where you belong. This is what you belong here. This is what you're doing. And most of it was in Texas for some weird reason. I don't know what it was. Texas was like the spot.
Hey,
but because of that wondering,
everything's bigger in Texas, brother.
Yeah. But going through that, because I was so strong about what am I doing? Where am I? And I went out and got my own answers. And some people walk around like, God, this feels really familiar. I don't, but that's as far as they go with it. Mine was visual in front of me and visual in my head. It's like I relived the dream. And I realized at that moment, in my head, reliving the dream, and then I'm looking at it as it went by. It's like you're walking through very thick water or very thick air, like you can barely move. And everybody else, you're moving normally, but you're looking around, everything's slow-mo. I mean, you see this, look around, and suddenly you're realizing that in your head, you're replaying what you dreamt about 3 years ago. And now you're actually having that experience. You're awake and having this exact same dream, but it's an experience. So that's to me is like your deja vu. That's where deja vu comes from for me.
Yeah. So that slowdown effect you described, sort of passing through this fog or stickiness or whatever. Who also talked about that was Robert Monroe in Journeys Out of Body in that book. He's describing sort of that space where you kind of out of body and you can see actual reality, but then you sort of move through these, for lack of a better term, veils or fogs or something like that. And there's not just tension keeping you out, but also there's entities sort of like nipping at your heels type of thing as part of it. Like what he described him as like a jellyfish, like astral jellyfish or something. I don't know. It's a wild thing to consider that there are layers within that out of body. And again, dreams within dreams. So outer scale and also inner scale. And it all plays, I guess, doesn't it?
Maybe I was out of body and in my body simultaneously. Who knows? But that's what it felt like every single time. It was just this slow-mo, and you're walking around, and I couldn't push my body to move faster. I just couldn't do it. It's like you're in this limbo area, and you just have to float along and let whatever's taking place take place. And then once it was over with, and everything, like the record's supposed to be played at 78, it's at 33, and then somebody turned it back up to 78. It's like, oh, here we go again. The sound comes back, and you're walking around normal. Is what that was. In the dream state, if I hit my head sometimes my head hits the pillow, I'm someplace. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm there. And sometimes not. Lately it's been more. I'm getting confirmations about things in my past that I've experienced, and I'm getting confirmations like it's getting not closure, it's getting a closure, and it's also opening. Put it that way. So okay. I'm lucky in that way.
Open-ended, non-linear. I love it. So, okay, so the question for you, we got a couple minutes left, and I want to work James in here too. So, James, anything on that? And then I got a question for MJ.
I wanted to say I do agree that for me anyway, all my experiences I've had when I've been asleep, when it comes to out of body or parallel alternate universe traveling or whatever, anything anomalous that I've had happen while I've been asleep, it's always been accidental. I can't say the word accidental. It's always been, none of it has ever been me trying to do anything ever. So, and I think I do agree with MJ that, I imagine people probably have a lot more of these experiences than they always realize. And so, yeah, I totally agree on both of those points.
Which scales in all the ways, right? Out of bodies or sort of Inception style dreams, maybe remote viewing accidentally in a moment. Like, who knows? And this is sort of that swirling cosmic destiny of who knows what comes next. So the question for you, MJ, do you think that we are in the dream realm on some actual subconscious mission? Like that becomes a thing. So we spend all this time sleeping, which is a massive amount of our lives. 30% of our lives or something, they say. Something to that degree. We'll just roll with that number unscientifically. But we spend all that time and we're doing all that dreaming, is there sort of an actual dream mission we're working on while we're there? What's your take on that?
Well, I almost sometimes feel it's recycling, but we come here to remember who we are. Okay, we live here. It's kind of like you go to college and you have chores while you're here. You work and do this, the other, and these things teach you certain things, economics, whatever. And then there's a portion of you that goes to the dream state, and you get to go back home for a little while. And then you come back to college again, because our souls, it's an evolution. And to be out of body completely, you're not going to get full effect at the early stages, for me. Okay. And when we're here, we get to see the beauty, the horror, everything about humans that are good, bad, and ugly, anything in between. We get to witness that, and that stirs up us to maybe expand ourselves. There's got to be something else out there that's better than this, however you look at it. And that sort of jumpstarts us to doing that stuff. Now, we're talking about it more and more, and that's the possibilities. People are still going, oh, it's a possibility, possibly, I don't know. I kind of had this dream when I was 12, this type of thing. And sometimes we have to have very negative experiences to jar us or to jolt us into it, to wake up in conscious, because we're both at the same time. We're physically here and we're off someplace else. It's the door is open. You want to be here, you can be here doing your stuff, and you can be contacted, the backside of Pluto. We can do it simultaneously because we're multifaceted beings as far as you want to call it psychic ability and Reiki and all these energies and everything. That's the baby steps to get where we actually can be. So I think we're all connected. It's just some of us want to be here and just like, I got to get a rest, because it is a lot. When you start doing readings, Reiki, and that, you're pulling in the energies that these bodies can't hold. They're not meant to radiate that energy. Out of body, yes, absolutely.
Well said. Fire stuff, as always. You're the best. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thanks for being such a good friend for such a long time. Have a great night. As you know, we're out of time.
All right. Thanks, James. Thanks, Michael.
You're the best. That's MJ Virginia. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. We got Michael W., more from James and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Which song do we play? This one's for Herschel.
They're out there in the sky, invisible lines, a secret fleet they say, hidden in plain sight. It's a cloak and dagger play, under spectral lights, fiction or real life. I've lost the fight, saw their shadows cast on my bedroom wall, ghostly whispers faint, answering no call. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. The streets are silent now, the truth's veiled in mist. Looking to the stars above, wondering what I've missed. Echoes in the night, silhouettes out of sight. Their eyes are watching closed, unseen by the day, hiding in the dark, where shadows play. Government secrets whispered, never to be told. Underneath the cover of night, is there truth to behold? I hear the hum, the sound I can't explain, disappearing lights, driving me insane. Muffled footfalls echo, through empty streets we roam, searching for the clues that lead us home. paranoid delusions grip our fragile minds. Reality bends and blurs in this space and time. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. Static on the radio, the static hums a tale. In basements and attics, secrets sift like mail. Eyes behind the blinds, knives behind the backs. Conspiracy we ride on paranoid tracks.
Remember, that song is not as dark as it seems. It was a UFO folklore song, so it's themed for the particular show, whatever. But anyway, just it sounds dark, but it's not as dark as it seems because it was very themed. Anyway, that's for Herschel, the emo song. He always comments. I think he likes it. I like it too. We're talking dreams tonight. I don't know. What do you guys know about it? We got Michael W. coming up and your calls as well. We got one more segment happening here. But what do you know about this? It's weird, right? Are we on some subconscious mission that we'll never really understand? Is, again, the aboriginal dream time, the dream space itself, the primordial beginning of what we're always trying to trace ourselves back to? I don't know. What do you think? There we go. Troubled Minds coming up in about 10 seconds. But love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, I'm always fascinated by the different states of reality, and there's a lot here. Here we go. Let's start. Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We're broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network and, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking Agents of Twilight. Is it possible that because some people can recall their dreams and others cannot, and all manner in between of that scale, that we are on some subconscious mission in that dream space? And I'm calling it, of course, Agents of Twilight for that exact reason. Are there people that are more tuned into the aspect of reality from somewhere else? And if that's the case, are the agents bringing this information back to us? And is there this block, this actual physical block, whatever you want to call that? Remember, go all the way back to this. We started with this Gizmodo article. Do you always remember your dreams? Researchers may know why. Scale that with technology and Neuralink and downloading dreams and all manner of wild stuff, okay? Like, we're not even going to get into that tonight. It's too late in the night for that, but you get what I mean. However, there's this other term I didn't realize it was a thing. It's called a white dream. Now, a white dream, of course, is a dream you can't remember. And there's some actual academic disagreement, as well there should be, because we're talking about dreams. But in this case, the Atlantic reported this was, when was this? I don't even know what day this was. This was back in 2019. The dreams you can't remember might have never occurred, almost as if it's that screen memory we've talked about in the past. Maybe for trauma, maybe for an abduction experience, aliens, of course, I'm talking. Like I said, there's a lot of stigma when you bring up the term alien, but recognize that alien has been replaced by non-human intelligence in the modern zeitgeist. So you see what I'm saying? So you say the word alien, and it feels like you're an esoteric weirdo. But also, you see how it could not be. There's a lot of things in play here, of course, because AI itself is non-human intelligence. James, anything on that? And we'll go to Michael W.
Just as I always say, alien to me doesn't mean anything in particular. It just means unknown or unfamiliar. So that leaves a lot of possibilities as to what it could be. Which, ironically enough, to me now, AI isn't really so alien because we keep looking into it all the time and learning more and more about it. It still kind of is to some degree, but it's still something that is being studied all the time now. So, great calls from everybody. Looking forward to the rest.
Yeah, we use it every day, don't we? It's becoming part of us. That's what it's becoming. You're the best. 702-957-1037 is the phone line. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Raise your hand on the stage. We'll put you on the show just like this. Michael W., the birthday boy. Happy birthday, 43rd trip around the sun. And thanks for spending your time and energy with us and your birthday with us. How you doing tonight, my man? And go right ahead.
Hi, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Loud and clear. You sound great.
All right. Yeah. Well, I like what James is saying about the term alien. The way that I don't know if you even want to call it our government now, or if you just want to call them our jailers or overlords or whatever, but the way they're manipulating our terms. So yeah, let's take it back to the root of the word. Alien means foreign. I really like what James was saying about that. But we're talking about dreams. And this is something that's that I'm personally dealing with right now in my life, my dreams. I've been having a lot of nightmares recently, and I started meeting with a therapist who I was really dubious about talking to a therapist. I thought, I've talked to him before and it didn't really help, and I thought it was stupid. But after I met with this guy, I don't know, I just felt really good about our conversations after we started having them. And one of the things he was helping me with was my nightmares. And I just have a lot of nightmares, and as we all know, we can have sweet dreams and wake up feeling great, but if we have nightmares, we wake up feeling more tired than when we went to sleep the night before. And if you do that night after night, it catches up with you. But this therapist started telling me, well, write down your dreams and go at it from this tactic. Write down your dreams, but edit them. And when you edit them, write them down so that it's not a nightmare anymore, but it's a dream that's happening the way you want it to happen. So that's malleable, and it's not perfect, but maybe you can't take a nightmare and turn it into a sweet dream, but maybe you can take a nightmare and change it into at least a dream that's not terrifying.
Yeah.
So I started taking these nightmares and I didn't do it the way he said, because to me that seemed like the way Quentin Tarantino makes movie script. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Hitler dies in a movie theater instead of, the way things happened historically.
Yeah.
But so what I started doing was I would write the dream down, the nightmare down, the way it happened. And then I would write down, I guess this was just like a conversation that I'm writing down with myself. And then I would write down why I think I had that nightmare. Like I would try and trace back the feelings that it gave me to like the events in my childhood that caused that. And then I would try and write down what I think would be a better ending or whatever. And the day I started doing this, I stopped having nightmares. And I am still flabbergasted as to why this instantly, like my nightmares were plaguing me. Like I was not sleeping. I was having nightmares on 4 times a week. I would have nightmares that kept me up all night, and some of them were terrifying. Some of them involved the people that I love the most being murdered or horrible things happening to them, And I was not sleeping. It was terrible. But the day after I started this practice of this journaling, the nightmares stopped happening.
That's incredible.
And oh my God, it's like, this sounds ridiculous. I feel like I'm selling something that people can buy that's stupid, you know.
Wait, hold on. It's not at all. And here's the thing too. So we talk about sort of manifesting things, manifesting our own reality, the collapse of the wave function. We talked about all this stuff a lot on the show as part of that larger context of, can you actually do that? Is it possible? And, you know, some have suggested it is. Look at, and I know this is a sore point for you, but look at Elon Musk. He's like memeing things into reality. It's crazy. Like, and he's, you know, clearly reached the toppest level of the toppest top. But does that mean for us that you and I can meme things into reality for ourselves, for our own personal, the best of us, right? The as they say, living your best life. Can you meme your best life into reality by working on that? And in this case, that's exactly what you've done. And with your dream realm, okay, you sort of conquered it. You tapped it down with a process. There's a process to these things. So yeah, I don't know. It's wild to consider that, but it works, right? Like, it's hard to argue with the results, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, for me personally, I cannot believe how effective that was and how much of a positive effect it had on my personal life. The extreme negative effect that those dreams were having on my personal life. Now, I've had nightmares throughout my life. I go through periods where I don't have nightmares and everything's fine for a while, but that's just something that has happened in my personal life recently that was an extremely palpable result based on the effort that I put into it. Like, I wish I could put that much effort into guessing tomorrow's lottery results and having it come out accurately or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh my God. But this is the nature of the universe that I live in. And this is the one thing where an amazing result occurs from the effort that I put in. But the dream realm is much more vast than just my nightmares. Even just for me, it is much more vast than just my nightmares. These nightmares that I have are anxiety driven. Like, the last one that I remember having was the night after I had a fight with my landlord. I live in an apartment and I rent from a landlord that regulates apartments all over town. You know, they have dozens of apartments that they're responsible for maintaining and regulating. And I had a fight with him. It was entirely my fault. I somehow forgot to pay rent in December, you know, when the holidays were happening and everything. For the first time in my life, I just simply forgot to send the check, you know, and hey, that's on me. But you know, they didn't say anything, and 2 months went by, 3 months went by, and then 3 months later, they sent me a bill for hundreds of dollars worth of late fees and I was like, why didn't you guys send me a phone call?
Yeah,
you know,
for real.
And this was the argument that I had, you know, and they were like, okay, yeah, you're right, we should have called you. And I was like, and I'm sorry for yelling at you when you called me, you know.
Oh, and when you finally called me months later, me months later, I'd be pissed too. I'd be super pissed. Like, my mistake.
Oh yeah.
But by the way, you should have called me. Like, none of this, fire an email off into whatever and expect it gets somewhere. Yeah. Do you know how many spam catchers I get in my email daily? I don't even look at my email. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh yeah.
Call me. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I don't answer. By the way, if you called me Michael W., no offense, I don't don't have your number, I'd be like, I ain't answering that. I'm not answering
Obviously,
that.
yeah.
But if you left me a message, I'd be like, oh, that's Michael W. I know that guy. I'll call him back, right? So that's the thing. Leave me a damn message. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I digress.
They obviously make money on late fees and stuff. And after I screamed at them, they were like, okay, you got me there. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry for losing my temper. But the following evening, I had a nightmare based on this interaction where I was in this dream. I was looking for a new place to live, and I found a room to rent. And this room was in the really pleasant area of town here in Moscow, Idaho. We call it the Fort Russell district. You know, it's a couple hundred houses in this little area. And they're really cute. They're really beautiful houses, and sometimes people rent out rooms in these houses. But in my dream, it was a room in a basement, and then there were other corridors coming off of it that went off all directions, but they all went underground. And so I was like, okay, I guess this is my new room. But then I noticed that all my exes, all the women I'd loved in the past, also lived in these corridors underground that were intersecting with my room, and I didn't have any privacy in this room. You know.
Oh God!
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
All my exes live in Texas, except Texas is the underworld. And they all can walk in straight through your closet door. Yes. Wait. More ridiculous. You know what that is? That's back to Monsters Inc. That's another sync here. We brought that up earlier as part of this conversation.
Right, the closet door.
The closet door.
Yeah.
In your room.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then, I mean, I even had good terms with some of these exes, but I ended up in this labyrinth below ground, you know, so it had this feeling of being trapped subterranean, this claustrophobic feeling of being trapped underground. And then I started running into acquaintances who maybe weren't friends, but I had to try and find solidarity with somebody because I was trapped underground with no food or water. And then these hallways started turning into water slides, like not with water in them, but I had no traction and I was lost. I began...
It's obviously black goo.
Lying.
Just
yeah.
My goodness.
So I feel like I'm accurately portraying the anxiety of this dream, but I was hopelessly trapped underground and just flying through these underground water slide sorts of things. And all I wanted was to get back above ground to the sunlight, you know, but I was miles and miles underground. And, you know, the next morning I woke up after this horrible nightmare and it took me a while to obviously this is why I had this dream. And this is, gosh, I don't know why I went down this tangent, but
it doesn't,
I'm just saying this is what happens to me. I have these weird nightmares and then I can trace them back to things that happen in my life. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure where I was going with that, but
that's okay. Give us a second. We'll all take a second together. We'll get back to you in just a second. James, anything on that or anything else? And we'll get back to Michael W. in just a second. This is why having smart friends is an amazing thing, because if you have a brain fart for a moment, you got friends to back you up. Go ahead, James. If you got anything, if not, I got you. If not, I got you. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, no, I do agree that first of all, that's an amazing thing. I'm glad that you found something that works for you to get through or get rid of those constant nightmares like that. I hope it keeps on working. But also, yeah, I do think that there can be dreams that are based on things that happen. I've had a couple over the years that were clearly based on just worrying about being able to get around in unfamiliar places because I'm legally blind. And
that's horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah. The first couple of times I had no idea what was going on. And I was always in a place I didn't recognize. And it was always a place where there was a ton of stairs and they were always going down, and which is, of course, it's because I have no depth perception. So that was always a thing. And it took me a few of those dreams until the last one I had where I was in the middle of this mall, but the floor was just completely uneven. And there was just rises and falls and bumps and just, worst possible situation for someone that can't see what's going on the floor to try to get around. And that's when I realized this is just my mind worrying about these things. And of course, as soon as I did, those kinds of dreams, basically, they've pretty much stopped since then. But it took a few times. It wasn't something that I realized right away. I just had these dreams. It's like, wow, why? This is not fun. I'd have dreams where there was just sheer drop-offs from like a second story floor to a ground floor. And I had to just realize that just as I was coming up to the edge and back off and I've had dreams where I fell, where I was walking down a staircase with just darkness all around me, and I had a white cane, but it shattered into a million pieces as I was taking a step down a stair that of course had no railing. And of course I fell over the edge. And
of course, James, the void was beneath.
It was all around.
Yeah.
There was nothing else. It was all darkness all around. Yeah. So
I have a question for you, James.
Go ahead.
So you're totally blind, or do you see shades of light or darkness or how is that exactly?
I'm just legally blind. So I can see things, just not in great detail. I'm extremely nearsighted. And I also have no depth perception. So to me, steps and staircases just look like ramps that are just way too steep. I can sometimes see the lines, but they still all look like there's no steps.
I guess I'm curious, like in your dreams, is that how you see things in your dreams as well?
Yes.
Or
my vision is the same in my dreams and in my out-of-body experiences and everything I've ever had happen. My vision is always the same, which is, I've heard, is a strange thing, because I've heard people that have vision problems, when they have dreams, they can see normally. So, I don't know how that works, but it's definitely different for everyone, apparently.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, I kind of remember where I was going with the dream stuff, but I kind of believe that us as humans, we live in this physical realm where we have fleshy meat bodies, and I think this is sort of a dream. And I don't know where we're dreaming it from, but I think it is. And I think we're capable of dreaming from this dream. We're in this weird flesh interface. And I remember the first time I had something that I would describe sort of like a psychedelic experience, where I got hurt. I just shattered my left ankle. My left foot, I guess. I shattered it, and I couldn't put any weight on it or anything. And the doctor gave me painkillers, and it was my first experience with like opiate painkillers. And I remember taking them and then just disappearing into a black realm. And I remember it being very pleasant, but there was just darkness all around me. And I don't know what I thought, but I was conscious. And I remember just I thought I was asleep. I thought I was unaware, but then my asleep unawareness bumped into somebody else in this darkness. And we were both startled, and neither of us had a body. And I still don't know really an accurate way to explain this, but it was just my asleep unawareness in this dark realm, and I bumped into somebody else's consciousness. And we were both startled, and I said, "Whoa, who are you?" And that person said, "I'm Karen." And then I got sucked back into my body and I woke up. And I think that was I think that was kind of a relative dream sort of state. And I've had others like that. And like MJ was saying on MJ's call earlier, that sometimes dream states are like a rest from reality. And I agree with that. I think dreaming is sometimes a rest from reality. I don't know how to make sense of the fact that a nightmare is a dream and it's also absolutely not a rest from reality. I don't know how to sort out that inconsistency, but they're also both very real. And I don't know. Those are sort of my. I mean, I've had many dream experiences like this, and I've had dream experiences where I encountered other beings, and these encounters where I met with and interacted with these other beings are more real than like me watching the TV screen right now. More real than that, and I don't know how to explain how that's true, but it was.
So realities colliding, and I don't know. I think it's important to recognize that our reality tunnels themselves may not be as, vanilla, societal as we expect them to be. Which is literally the entire space here. Which is why we talk about these things, because, like I said, I'm not one to be like, yeah, definitely, for sure, true. All the things in the whole universe that, in the Dungeons and Dragons rulebook or whatever. But also, as a representation of that, there are many people experiencing a ton of different things that are, directly, how would you say, directly defined as anomalous. Like, so just for instance, me and you, right? Just as an example, right? Our actual reality tunnels are very different. And so what part of that is anomalous in the case of just me and you? Then scale it. And there's how many billion people on Earth. And we're all trying to talk to each other. Man, you're here. I'm preaching to the choir, I know. But you get what I mean. It's strange that some people are more tuned in or even more tortured because of some things that may seem unquantifiable to the science mind of today. And yeah, like I said, I know I'm making the case, preaching to the choir and whatnot, but it's important to recognize that in the most basic sense, what you're going through clearly is not what everybody else is going through, and vice versa. And it's an important thing to recognize. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Well, the point I want to make now is that yes, I experience these bizarre realities that I cannot nail down. Like, how do you catch a cloud and pin it down, right? Like in that song from The Sound of Music. That's my life. My entire life is like, how do you catch a cloud and pin it down? But then my partner in life, the woman I love, is the opposite of me. I don't think she believes in a soul. And she believes that we are like lumps of flesh that wake up when we're born, and when we die, it's lights out. And that I understand how, even when I met her, that was heartbreaking. But at the same time, it's like her as a human who exists that way is an anchor that's holding down some kind of like vibratory frequency that we all exist on. And I am an extremely buoyant reality that is going to rip us all off of the ground we stand on. But we also need humans like her that sort of nail us down, so that as a species, we can all sort of coexist in some coherent fashion. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it makes total sense inside my head.
It makes sense to me too. It's strange. And by the way, God bless her. Like I've always said, this is the thing that the mature Michael Strange has come to realize, is that thought of we're here, we're temporary, shout out Herschel, and everything is the materialist aspect of reality is incredibly valid. And that's how I grew up, mostly, because not really understanding sort of the larger context of it. But also, as you're describing, it's horrifying. And so at what point are we deluding ourselves in with the polarized aspect of these things? And my whole point is, in having these conversations, is I don't think it's so polarized at all. I think it's commingling of magic and science, and it's commingling these reality tunnels of, okay, so you don't see it that way, but you don't experience it this way, etc. Well, look what happens. Look what we've done with this group. I'm just saying, like, the world's sleeping on us right now. Eventually, this is going to blow the F up, like, to a crazy level, and it's going to be really hard to kind of keep it all together. But my point is, in saying all those things, is that you're a woman. High five. Completely valid. Completely valid. I see it. I sense it.
Yeah.
However, it's a polarized take, and we've been indoctrinated into a life of polarized takes. And so I'm not so sure. And I think it's okay to not know, and it's okay to be not so sure. That's my point. Sorry to interrupt. Go right ahead, sir.
No, yeah, like the way I feel about it is that I am an extremely spiritual person, and like you said, the young Mike Strange felt very different about things, and the young Mike White also was very different about things. I was much more spiritually explosive, and now the 43-year-old today, 43 years old, Michael White, feels like it's possible that an entirely spiritually bereft person is its own expression of spirituality. The woman I love is totally spiritually bereft. And the way that she laminates herself to that reality is so severe that it is stronger than a lot of spirituality that I've met in my life. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The severe reality of it is just as real as my extreme spirituality.
You just said one of the most poetic things I've ever heard in my life, and me trying to follow along after you said it, I lost it. You were fire, brother. You were fire. What was it? My mind says lacquer. What did he say, James? What did you guys say? I'll rewind it. That's a T-shirt. That's a philosophy. That's an entire philosophy. It's basically baking us into polarities. And that's what I always talk about. That's why this is important in terms of looking at all of the ideas. And why I say, and I mean it, I'm wrong by being here. But also, by considering possibilities, are you ever truly wrong? I don't know. It becomes
never truly.
Well, again, so what is truly? And again, I can see the philosophical aspects of all these things. And by the way, I got a D in philosophy in college, just to let you know. But it doesn't, right? Because I can't remember all the things. I was working like 3 jobs and whatever. But this is clearly my thing, right? Thinking possibilities, and I can't say this guy said this in 1864 or whatever. But I can tell you, in my mind, possibilities are paramount, and that's why we're here. Just about, yes. We're over a little bit. It is your birthday. We'll go long for what you need. Anything to add, James, to Michael, and then back to you, Michael, and let's start to wind this down.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really amazed by everything you said there, Michael. I think it is possible for everyone to coexist if we just sort of don't get into the whole space of we have to be right about what others are going through, or we have to be right about, we have to make everyone else sort of think or act or be the same way that we are. I think it's important that there is difference, and but it can still be there, and we can still be okay with that. And I'm glad to hear that you found someone that is different from you that you are still able to be with, and that works for both of you.
Exactly. Well said. Well said on the differences and that the possibilities. Like who knows who's right? We can kill each other forever about who's right, but can we love each other? Disagreeing becomes the real question, doesn't it? Go ahead, Michael. Happy birthday. Thanks for staying up late with us, brother.
Yeah, thank you for the happy birthday. I don't know. I will say I am tormented by the psychedelics that I've done, not because they broke my mind, but because of the truth that they exposed me to. I think that's it.
Right on. Happy birthday. Happy 43rd around the sun. Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you for the tip. Go charge that shit back. If you tip on Rockfin, don't do it. Rockfin rug pulled, and it's like I said, it's a developing story. We'll see where this goes because they basically robbed a bunch of really talented creators with big audiences. So if you've got a
what is the best way to like if we want to tip troubled minds, what is the best way to do that?
Thank you for asking. Thank you for the tip tonight. Go to troubledminds.org. There's a support on top. There's like a Spreaker. The best way, to be honest, is there's a Spreaker there. It's like $5 a month, but I know like that's a monthly thing. A direct tip, I don't think we have yet. There's Ko-Fi, there's Patreon, there's Don't Do Rockfin, there's Buy Me a Coffee. Here's the best thing, actually, by the way. I got a nice check for the year right now, like today. It surprised the crap out of me. I was like, what? I was like, what did this come from? I had no idea, but the Shopify store was saving all the money of the people that bought merchandise and the ads over the year. And then I didn't realize it wasn't auto dumping into the bank account. And so today, was it today? Yesterday? I don't even know. It all blends together in my head because I'm like stretching it to the ends of extremes of waking up early, staying up late. But I was like, what in the world? What is this? Like, what happened? And they were holding the money for a long time. And then they're finally like, we can't hold your money anymore. Here you go. It's dumped in your bank account. I was like, yeah, what is this? I felt like it was a scam. Don't click on it, right? Don't get the money. So Troubled Fans shop, troubledfans.com. Buy yourself a sweatshirt, brother. Buy a hat, buy some swag, do something like that. And then it's something.
So just buying merch is the best way at this point.
Well, because then you have something that's a conversation starter. You have something physical to manifest troubled minds into the world on your person. Okay. Just a hint. Maybe we do more of that together and we manifest these ideas out into the zeitgeist that have not yet been widely disseminated. That's my take. I would say, go buy a hat or something, whatever you wear. A sweatshirt. I'm not wearing the sweatshirt tonight because I'm running out of time. And I'm always like, if you guys saw what I do when I run in here and do, I'm like, it's like a TikTok, like come up with the idea, do the thing, all the things. It's getting easier because I've been doing it, but you guys would think I'm a crazy person, right? And maybe you do, and that's fine. I don't care. But you get what I mean.
It seems like you come crashing in sideways every night when you create these shows. Yeah,
that's about accurate. Honestly, about accurate. And the craziest part is I don't even know if it's gonna like fly. Like I don't know if you're all gonna like boo, hiss, and leave and never come back. Like that's how on the edge I am all the time. Anyway, troubledfans.com and go buy some merch. Get yourself a t-shirt. There's some really sweet stuff there. The Synchro Mystic one is really great, or the Dimensional Influencer, or that's the best way. That's the best way. Because I got a nice check today from that over the course of the past year, and so thank you for all the people who've bought merch and supported the show over the year, and continue to do so. I thank you all for that. And like I said, buy yourself something physical and tangible so you can put the hat on or wear the shirt and go out into the space and into the world, and somebody will say, "What is that? That's super sweet." And then there you go. You just made a new friend. That's the best way.
Yes, sir. Troubledfans.com, ladies and gentlemen.
You're the best, brother. Appreciate you very much. Happy birthday. Thanks for spending it with us. God bless your woman. And don't worry about the differences and don't worry about the hard edges, because the most important thing is that we come together regardless of disagreements. Okay.
Goddamn right. God, I'm hers forever. That's the truth.
Absolutely. There you go. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for sharing all the ideas and your dreams and everything else, and looking forward to the next time. Have a great night.
Night, guys.
Take care. Michael W. On the Discord. Making friends all over the world. That's what this is all about. James, final thought, and let's wrap this.
I think I said it in the chat, but in case I didn't, happy birthday again to Michael W. Yeah, great call. And I think this is, the amazing thing about this is I'm sure at some point you'll end up doing another dream show because there's so much to talk about here. And it seems to connect to so much. Sleep and those different states of consciousness seem to connect to so much. And probably more than we even realize now. So thank you for letting me sit in as always.
Glad to have you. You were the best. James Salcido, you know him, you love him. Salcido Paranormal, the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds, the glue of the show, a dear friend for a long time, and of course, always inspiring new ideas. If you haven't followed James at this point, you're hurting my feelings. troubledminds.org/friends. Go follow James. Go to salcidoparanormal.com. Just the website's got all his links there. I'm going to fix the it's on the list, James. We'll get your mobile fixed, but go to salcidoparanormal.com and you'll find all of James's stuff, okay? On desktop. Otherwise the mobile is a little bit sketchy yet, but you'll find all his podcasts and all the rest of that stuff. So please go give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow James here. Actually, let me just pull this up and show you. Like I said, this is about, once again, right? In this particular space of these conversations, this is about people. And I think in the larger context of all of the ideas here, people miss the people part. This is about people. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It says James. It's alphabetical. Click it. Go give him a follow in all the places. Go buy his books. Brilliant guy, brilliant author. Working on new stuff all the time. What are we doing? If you don't follow him, you don't go buy his books and whatnot, you're hurting my feelings. Don't spend money on me, spend money on him. Spend money on all the people that are part of this show. Like I said, recognize what happens, right? When you defer credit, you build a community. When you be nice to people, people come back. When you say thank you for listening, they hear it. Like I said, I could spend like so many others hours grinding donations. I don't. I literally don't. Poor Michael W. on his birthday was trying to tip Troubled Minds, and my bad for not even making it clear what's happening. But you get the idea, right? Some people like take a platform and just stick their knee in the neck and say, "Send me money, send me money." It's nice if you do. I appreciate it. Like I said, I got a nice check today that changed some things for me, and I appreciate that very much. TroubledFans.com. Buy the hat, buy the shirt. Go out there and spread it in the world. Shout out Ted in England and Ray K and many of the people. Sonia is a bot. Many people who have purchased the some of the stuff that we sold. There's coffee cups and all kinds of stuff. Thank you for that. It does kick some money back to me, and I appreciate that. As we finish, look, it's about being human. If we can't reconcile what being human means together in a large context conversation, non-linear, open-ended, what are we doing? As we finish, it goes exactly like this. This one's for scub rats out there. I see you, buddy. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.